Overtime hero showed up. Here's the call on the Panthers Radio Network.
Bennett up the near side, looks across for Hagee. High slide shot. He scores! Carter Verhaeghe, the overtime winner here in Game 3. The Panthers take it 3-2 the final.
And the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat are back on the hardwood tonight for Game 4 of the NBA Finals after the Nuggets claimed Game 3. And the Nashville Sounds are back in action tonight at 5:50 p.m. against the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 1025 and 1063.
1, 2, 3. I think it was a good game. Had a couple of big plays.
Oh, man, yes, he scores!
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mays coming your way here on this Friday afternoon. Looking forward to another outstanding show. Beautiful weather. Willie Donick, Derek Mason here with you. Nick Keyser behind the glass. Caroline has been floated to the afternoon again.
Yeah.
Or is he going to a wedding? I can't remember.
It could be both.
Is
but
she
no,
going to a wedding after the show?
She may be going after the show, but she is on. She's doing Jarrett this afternoon and after this show at 2 o'clock.
Now,
And
Derek,
then
I do
she
have a
will be
wedding.
I think she does have a wedding this
No,
weekend.
I have a wedding.
Oh, you have the wedding this weekend.
But Caroline said she got an invite to a
yes,
new wedding.
That's what it
Yep.
was. She got an
So
invite.
it's on the list.
Well, we just assume when Caroline's not here, it's a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, she's taking over the helm.
It's usually a pretty
for
good
Jared.
guess. But yes, she's going to miss another Friday here.
Exactly.
So we will miss her
Another
today.
Friday. Come on,
She's
Caroline.
missing out really on so much fun. We've had a ton of fun, especially because we have Dad Joke Friday. So
Oh, yeah.
are you prepared?
Oh,
D-Mason?
come on, Willie. You know I'm prepared.
Well,
Even though
I
you
didn't
did,
ask.
you did throw in a. Was it you that threw in the zinger yesterday, the day before that? Or was it?
I had a good one. I can't remember what it was.
It was when we were at the golf course for Souls for Souls, and I ended up meeting one of the ladies at Orange Theory yesterday, and she was a part of Souls for Souls, and she was like, "I think I saw y'all out at the course." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Yeah, part of Souls." So it was great. So, but yeah, I think you brought it up during the golf tournament. And it was a good one.
I had an
It was a good one.
advanced Dad joke, and I can't remember what it was. That shows you my memory. That's what happens to dads after a while. Your brain gets overloaded.
Mm-hmm.
There's just too much stuff in there. You can't remember everything.
Yeah, that's pretty much, my life. The kids always say, "You forget everything." I say, "Yeah, well,
Yeah.
okay."
Well, remember our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. If you want to throw in a dad joke that we could fire into the rotation, feel free to do that. We've got a lot of things going on. We've got the OTAs happening. We've got DeAndre Hopkins coming to Nashville this weekend. That seems to be – I was driving back from Atlanta this morning, and that was the number one topic on the NFL satellite radio show, which Derek was actually on.
Yes.
Just last hour, so I got to hear that on the latter part of my drive. So, good stuff, D-Mace. That was a good perspective that you shared, but I heard some different perspectives there on the 3-hour drive or so. But the other big thing is Dalvin Cook is about to be released. So we're going to talk about the running back market a little bit later in the show as well today. We'll touch in on the Stanley Cup Finals, the NBA Finals. We'll have Ask D-Mace at 12:30. Our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We always invite your thoughts, 615-737-1025. Our show being brought to you by the new Zen Sports Sportsbook, with cash rewards and the easiest, simplest betting experience possible. Betting just got better. Download the Zen Sports Sportsbook app today. You'll hear Derek talking about that a little bit later as well. Brand new sponsor with us. So, D-Mace, let's get Dad Joke Friday started. Are you ready for your first?
How do you want to start this, Willie? How do you want to start this?
Well, I think you usually start off with a bang. You set the tone for the day. And either way, if the joke flops, there's nowhere to go but up. And if you start off with a good joke, then you set the standard for the rest of the show. So either way, I think it could work.
All right. Well, here's a good one. Here's a good one for you. Hey, did you hear about Dave? He fell into the upholstery machine.
Dave?
Yeah, Dave. He fell into the upholstery machine.
Is he okay?
He's fully recovered. Fully recovered. Upholstery recovered. Covered. Zany's 2026, 27. Hey, I heard it's sold out already. Nick said the tickets are gone.
They're gone?
Apparently.
The tickets are gone. We might have to have like 10 shows.
Look, I think Derek has to go
fully
to
recovered.
I think Derek needs to go do like Nissan Stadium or something.
Oh, man, I'm getting big here,
We might have to
Maybe
get a bigger
Nealon.
venue.
Yeah, we might have to get a bigger venue. I love Zany's, but 2026 I think
Derek,
it's 26, 27 somewhere. I'm trying to get my schedule right.
I think we should put you in Neyland Stadium in Knoxville.
Oh, snaps. That would be awesome. I might take my show on the road, too.
Man.
Because I would have to go to East Lansing, too.
That's a high level right there.
Yeah.
Neyland Stadium's got a lot of seats.
Oh, of course. I can fill it up.
Okay. Okay. So I'm trying to fully recover from that joke about Dave. Poor Dave.
Hey, it happens sometimes, man.
Poor me, because as a Met fan, I got to tell you,
Yeah, you were
was
feeling it.
I was in the Lions' den last night. Okay, I was in Atlanta. My son Mahoney, his travel team, playing in a travel tournament. There's a lot of them in Atlanta every summer. It's great baseball. People from all over the place come down there. So we played an afternoon game and we got a chance to go over to the Braves-Mets game last night.
Okay. Oh, that was big.
So the Mets just got done. Big picture here. The Mets have struggled of late. But they just got swept in Atlanta. They led by at least 3 runs in the 6th inning or later of all 3 games. And lost all 3. Lost all 3 of them.
That's not good.
So
really.
it's just gut-wrenching for a Mets fan, because here's the other thing. And this is what I want to hear for some people on our text line. 615-737-1025. What is your experience of, on either side of this, okay, a situation where a team just owns another team? Like mentally, the fans know it, the players know it, the coaches know it, the media knows it, but it just is ownership. Could be a rivalry, could be just another thing, but this happens sometimes where you just have this feeling. I'm a Mets fan. I had been following the first 2 games. I'm at the game. The Mets fall behind 3-0 in the first inning. They hit a grand slam off of Spencer Strider in the second inning, Brandon Nimmo. So it was an unbelievable game. There were 8 home runs hit. There were 34 hits, and I'd say 31 of them were line shots. It was action-packed. This is the other thing about – this was my first live baseball game at the Major League level this year, regular season. I went to a spring training game when they were trying to work out the kinks of the
so you noticed the clock.
The clock is helping a ton. The action, the stolen bases, there's more good plays. Now, there's a ton of strikeouts still. That's going to take some time. But no shifting. It is a much more fun product. And in Atlanta, that is such a great team. They've got a great buzz going on for the Braves right now. It is a happening when they play. They are so good. But the Mets are winning most of the game.
Okay.
I'm there with my son and one of my best buddies, Bruce Elder. A lot of people listening who are Vanderbilt fans will know who Bruce is. Co-captain of the 1993 SEC champion Commodores on the basketball floor. 14-2 in the league. Sweet 16, SEC regular season champs, over 1,000-point scorer. Great, great player. He's got his 2 young boys there who are becoming Braves fans. They're into it every pitch. Like, one of them is so emotionally involved he's like almost in tears when the Mets are winning. I was like, hey, it's okay, man. This is 162 of these.
It's only regular season.
You're still going to be in first place. I'm heckling him, but I'm trying to, keep him from going over the ledge, because he's like, they got to win this game. And I'm like privately going, the Mets have to win this game, man. We're in trouble. And, of course, 1 out in the 9th inning, they tie it on a home run, and then they win it on a walk-off home run. So it just ripped us to shreds. Me and my son are just emotionally shot.
Man.
But it just dawns on me, like, you go back to the end of last year, the Mets had a 10-game lead. Braves caught them and won the division. They swept them in Atlanta in the last week of the regular season.
Yes, last year, yes.
While I was in Switzerland. So luckily I didn't have to watch it because it happened overnight when I was sleeping. I woke up and I was like, oh, here we go again. So the Mets cannot beat the Braves when they need to beat them. It is unbelievable. The Braves own the Mets, especially in Atlanta. They own them. It's hard for a Mets fan to take.
Well,
but it happens. I would just want to know if people out there have a similar experience where you're watching your team play and you're just like, we can't beat these guys. We cannot beat these guys. Why is it?
Well, at least you've
mental.
realized it now. You've admitted that your Mets may just not be able to, no matter what, beat the Braves. That's just one team that you can't beat, and you hope that you don't have to face them, in the playoffs.
We got to get to the playoffs, man. They are
playoffs.
I know
playoffs.
It is crumbling. It is crumbling.
We got 160 games left.
The Braves fans love it. They love beating the Mets. You could just feel it. Of course, there's a lot of Mets fans there. They're sprinkled around, and the Mets are winning. Let's go, Mets! They're all looking at each other. One guy had to get warned. He almost got thrown out.
Oh, y'all pointing at each other like, yeah.
yeah, let's go, Mets. Everything. I was trying to downplay. I was like, it's only the 5th inning, man. It's only the 5th inning. And sure enough, and of course, the Braves fans turn around to us, once they take it, they're like, oh, hey, high five? Oh, you don't want to high five me? No? What's wrong? I mean, they just love.
That's why you got to start
hate
cheering
the Mets.
like in the later innings, not in the 5th inning.
So I get it. There's probably no more fun team for them to beat than the Mets. So it was a big night for Braves fans last night. But I'm curious about all that. And somebody on the text line has already said, "Can we get a chop from Willie, the tomahawk chop?" No,
I don't think he's going to give you that.
I saw a few of those last night.
You saw a few too many.
A few too many.
Yeah.
They do it on the pitching change, and there were a lot of pitching changes last night because
Sure.
the Mets couldn't get anybody out. Their bullpen is terrible. But another thing that I saw from the game last night, the greatest in-game promotion that has ever been invented. Have you seen this before, the freeze?
No.
Have you ever seen the freeze?
Oh, yeah, the guy that's running?
Yeah. Have you ever
I've
seen
the
that?
freeze, yes.
And I think in the
freeze
draft,
beats everybody.
I got to tell you what happened last night. Nick, you know about the freeze.
Yes, I do know about the freeze. It's
So-
from The Incredibles.
Well, The
Kind
Incredibles,
of.
the guy's name was Frozone. It was Samuel L. Jackson was the voice of the guy. So it does look similar.
Yeah,
now,
that's where it came
Frozone,
from.
he was like the Iceman, right?
Yeah.
He had the power to set a path of ice, and he was skating was his thing, like a speed skater. But of course, the freeze is running on the warning track. It is unbelievable to watch this. So last night, it's the greatest race I've ever seen. They let the guy get the head start, right? And this guy was not bad. He was running. But as usually happens, when you run from one foul pole to the other,
oh, that's long.
it's a long run.
You don't
it's
realize
like a
how
200.
long. Yeah, you don't realize how long it is until you get out there and start running it.
And remember when Michael Johnson, the great spinners, you go around the arc on the 200. So it's similar to that because you're going around the curve or the warning track. So the freeze lets the guy get out there. That's the race. Is you have a sprinter, the freeze, in the costume, full getup, and a fan. So the fan gets the head start, and he's got to win the race. And the freeze almost always catches the guy easy. But this one, the guy is within a second of getting there. And it's going right to the tape. And the freeze made the comeback. It was literally a photo finish. They didn't know who won. The guy thought he had beaten the freeze because he kind of reached out with his arm to the tape, which you can't do.
Okay, you
You got to go through with the body.
Yeah.
The freeze did it correctly. He's a track guy.
Yeah.
And he claimed victory. So the camera's on the guy that thinks he's beating the freeze and like, sorry. They show the replay. But it was amazing.
What did you win?
I don't know. Well, he didn't win, but I don't. You should get a huge prize for beating the freeze.
I think I want to race the freeze.
Oh man! Now what I've seen people is literally fall down because when you're trying to run full speed, like when's the last time you ran like 200 straight yards, full sprint?
I still can do it, but it's been a while.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if they let the person under the stands like warm up or get on the treadmill or anything. But
did this guy have on jeans?
No, he had shorts on, but he had like a collared shirt on. He didn't look like he was in. He wasn't in a tracksuit.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
It's a fantastic promotion. Okay. And so everyone was anticipating this. It did not disappoint. It's a great thing. So it was a fun game, great night, except that they ripped my heart out as a Mets fan. And I know all my Braves. I started getting texts as soon as the game was over with tomahawks and Braves hats and memes.
Did the suit chase you? Text you?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? Of course. Within 5 minutes of the end of the game. So that was amazing.
Oh, man. Well,
all right.
There you go.
Yep. That's the way it goes. But I would love to hear some people who have some thoughts on one team just owning another team. What would it be? What comes to mind? Rivalries in your sporting experience, local, national, stuff that it just drives you crazy. Because I just dread. Mm-hmm. I dreaded going to the game. I was like, I don't think we can beat these guys.
Gosh, Willie, that's bad.
I don't want to feel that way, but it just pulls at me. And sure enough, it was like a nightmare. It's a nightmare. So let's hear it. 615-737-1025. We'll get D. Mace's thoughts on what's next over the weekend with DeAndre Hopkins. We'll start getting into that stuff. Ask D. Mace coming up at 12:30. And remember, it is Dad Joke Friday. Stay tuned. We're just getting started here on Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
Every day we are live and local.
Most people pick them to make the playoffs before the season even started.
And your source for Nashville sports.
He can still wait for 5 more games before he makes that decision.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Happy Friday, everyone. Man, I'm talking to you, and I need to tell you something about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife, Daphne, along with that experienced and wonderful staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. They are there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. So, there's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle. Men, what are you waiting for? Give Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment. Here's the number, 615-486-3458. That's 615-486-3458, or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes are keeping you from getting burned this summer. If you know your home needs an air conditioning replacement, do not wait until it breaks down. You do not want to be sweating in your home. This month, get a free UV light and free electronic air cleaner when you buy select new HVAC systems. Or get a whole home water filtration for just $59 a month. Or get a new whole home generator for just $139 a month. Call Hiller's Heat Wave Heroes to save the day. Visit happyhiller.com to book.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. It's that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Lowe's knows the best deals for Dad. That's why this Father's Day, you can shop our best gifts from the brands he loves, like Craftsman, for less. Right now, get a V20 drill or impact driver kit for just $69. And save $50 on a V20 string trimmer and blower combo kit, now only $99. Shop Father's Day deals today, in-store and online. Lowe's knows dads. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 6/14 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace continues. Tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball tonight at 6:05 on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds take on the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, the AAA affiliate of the Miami Marlins, who I think might be the second-best team in the NL East. Sad to say, but it is true. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan. It's presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. Okay. Let's get to the phones. The text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. I think first up is Bill. Bill, welcome to the show. You're on 102.5 The Game. What do you got?
Hey, guys. I'm sitting here still trying to recover from that big win last night.
For the Braves?
Anyway.
So it was
Willie,
just too much fun.
About,
you had too much fun. It's taking you time to recover because you're having too much fun?
I mean, it was awesome.
It was an amazing game, wasn't it? I mean, 13-10 with 8 home runs hit, and it was back and forth. It's like it was incredible when somebody actually got out.
I know, right? I mean, yeah, I like this. I like games that are like low scoring, high tension, but also like those games where it's just who can score the most runs. Mm-hmm. Well, who's going to score the most runs? Anyway, if I recall, last season, I had similar thoughts against the Mets because I believe there was 6 or 7. They won 6 or 7 games against the Braves last year, and I recall it looking like a Little League game because the Mets kept hitting these little dinks infield and scoring like crazy. So a little payback this year, Willie.
You've been paying it back for years. It's a bunch of years. Bill, thanks for the call. Good stuff. It just seems like I can't remember the last time the Mets beat the Braves when they needed to beat them.
Oh, okay.
When they really need to beat them. This goes back to the Chipper Jones days. By the way, Bally, I didn't get a chance to see it, but I could see what they were doing just being at the game, looking up at the monitor. They had a special broadcast where they brought back John Smoltz. They had Tom Glavine. They had Chipper Jones on a panel, and they were just kind of telling stories and reminiscing while the game was going on. So it was a really fun broadcast plus a great game.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a delight for Brave fans.
Yeah, I mean it'd be like you and Eddie George. And if you could have Steve McNair, we wish we could, but Javon Curse, get a panel of guys watching the current guys and just not even really doing play-by-play, but just sort of
talking about
telling stories, reminiscing while the game's going on, just kind of watching the game with each other. It was a pretty cool concept that they did. One texter says, Willie looks like the Freeze with that shirt he's got on. Of course, you can see us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook live every day. Brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today. Use the promo code THEGAME. So if you can see my shirt, yes, this is my ode to the Freeze. This is like the color he wears.
What is that?
It's like
sherbet?
Frosty. Yeah, it's like a sherbet. Yeah, but what flavor sherbet would this be? It's like it's not like blueberry, but what would you call it?
I don't know.
It's lighter.
Yeah, it's like a ocean. It's almost
oceany.
like an ocean blue.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a Peterson
it's
for
ocean
Parkinson.
spray turquoise.
Yeah, it's
turquoise.
It's not quite like I couldn't sit with the Dolphins fans and you'd think I had a Dolphins. It's close, but they were like, no, you're not Dolphins.
You just threw that shirt on because.
Is it sky blue?
No, it's not sky blue.
No, it's not quite sky blue.
It's darker than
not
that.
It's not the Titans blue. It's somewhere in between.
See, this is where we need this. Like Caroline needs to.
Yeah,
the two-tone sky blue.
Can somebody give me a shade of this color if you're watching us?
It's almost like a surface color blue, not a deep ocean blue, but a surface color blue.
I think it's more green.
You think it's green?
He has a green patch on there, but it looks like it fades into
people,
it.
We will take
the green
a picture.
is the Peterson for Parkinson's because it is, for the record, I'm sure a lot of people were wondering, but you probably, if you know me, you didn't. Free shirt.
Yeah, it's free shirt.
From the Peterson for Parkinson's. He always gives out the very good quality golf shirt. So I have several colors of this thanks to him.
We're going to take a picture of Willie's shirt, and then we're going to put it out on social media, and you guys and gals tell us what color it is.
Okay.
We're going to do that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Because I need a shade. I need an exact shade. Like if you're painting your wall, you know, it's very important to know.
I wouldn't paint my
color.
wall that color, though.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. Some people might, but that wouldn't be me.
I would question that person's
taste, fashion,
taste.
Style.
Not necessarily their fashion taste, but their
home style, interior decorating
taste.
tastes. Yeah. Everybody's got their own.
Yeah, you're
Everybody's
right
got their own.
Okay, so one Caroline Fenton has texted us what she thinks.
Well, okay.
It is seafoam.
Seafoam. I can go with that.
But I thought seafoam. It's very close to seafoam for sure.
I can go with that.
A little green. It's more blue. I think seafoam is a little more green. Is this like Seattle Kraken kind of?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, I think that actually would be pretty accurate.
Pretty close to Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, that's
could I
like
sit with the Kraken fans?
You probably could.
I could be an infiltrator, an imposter.
Yeah,
with the Kraken fans.
You remember? Isn't the Marlins colors?
They're straight up teal. That's straight up teal,
okay.
And I don't think this is close to teal, but it's not quite.
I'm going with what Caroline said.
You're going seafoam? You're accepting
yes,
seafoam.
I'm accepting seafoam.
Now, I think the jumbo shrimp wear that kind of color in their uniform.
Okay.
The jumbo shrimp might go with this, and then you graduate up to the teal when you get sent
I think it's a little
to
bit
the
of
majors.
an accent color in theirs, but I don't. We have gone off into the
Now
color palette.
Now we're getting into accents.
Now we need to come back. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you, Caroline.
We may need a dad joke to cheer us up.
Okay, well, let's go to Bill. I think. No, Ray. Ray's got a dad joke. I think so. Ray, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Hey, Willie, your freeze story is the perfect segue for my dad joke. You ready?
Okay.
All right, here it goes. So there's a guy driving along this country road, and all of a sudden this chicken runs by him at about 50 miles an hour. So he's curious because he sees the chicken has 4 legs. And so he follows the chicken to this farm, and he finds the farmer, and he said, I saw this 4-legged chicken run onto your farm. And the farmer said, yeah, we breed them that way. And he said, well, why do you do that? He said, because we all like chicken legs. I like the leg, and Ma likes the leg, and Junior and Betty Sue likes the leg. This way we can all have legs. And the fellow says, well, how do they taste? And the farmer says, I don't know. So far we haven't been able to catch one. There you go, guys.
I like that.
Man, I mean that.
I like that one.
That's a good one. He had to deliver that.
He set it up perfectly too.
He did.
Yeah, because you can't falter over your words or anything. It has to be smooth.
The delivery is important.
Yes. He delivered that one excellent. It was excellent. I like that.
We have a Predator fan that texts on our text line. When the Predators play the Oilers, I already know we're losing, and Draisaitl will have at least 4 points. I definitely know that feeling. They finally beat them the last time they played them this past year, but there were about 6 or 8 straight games, I feel like, where the Oilers were going to score 4, 5, 6 goals at least, and Draisaitl was going to have a monster.
Yeah, Willie, I think that they had a combined like over 20-something points in 4 games against the Preds.
Draisaitl, his numbers, when you look at his numbers against the Predators the last 8 to 10 games,
he loves playing against the Predators.
Hey, Willie, and another color that has been brought up on my personal text line from one Junie Riddle says he looks like he's rocking Tulane.
Tulane, well, you got to have green in the Tulane, and I do have a little touch of green.
Very, very small amount.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at the Tulane. I think I'm close.
Seafoam.
See, that's I've got people. People talking with the show. I got to tell Brent
seafoam.
Peterson. I got to tell Brent Peterson about this. Okay, keep it coming. We're talking about teams who own other teams. We got a lot of texts floating in here. We have dad jokes. We're having fun on this Friday. We will get to some good football talk here very shortly with the OTAs going on and DeAndre Hopkins coming in. 615-737-1025. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more right after this.
I think there's a lot of talent. The Predators' offseason plan is taking shape as incoming GM Barry Trotz and new head coach Andrew Burnett look towards the NHL draft in late June.
It's a really exciting time. I think there's really exciting players.
How much change will they see with the Predators roster?
Big premium on development right now with our young guys. That is our lifeline.
We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's D Mace for Zen Sports Book. Zen Sports is the newest sports book in Tennessee. Zen Sports brand is focused on making sports betting better today and always. We do so in many ways, including the cashback reward, earning 5% cash back on your bets for your first 15 days of betting with Zen Sports. And also the cash reward program, earning up to 3% of your betting volume back as a cash deposit to your account. Some people give credit and everything else, but no, Zen Sports, they give you cash back and they put it back into your account every month. That's the first of every month. This is easy to use sportsbook. Search and set your bets easily. Set your favorite teams when making or building your parlays. You can even withdraw within 24 hours and deposit your funds instantly. No gimmicky promo bets that looks too good to be true, but rarely are. We know about that. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 21 years or older in Tennessee. Excuse me. And if you have any betting problems, please call 1-800-889-9789. That's 1-800-889-9789. Zen Sports Betting just got better.
This Father's Day, save big at Electronic Express. Don't miss a TCL 75-inch 4K TV for just $549, or an Amana laundry pair for only $399 each. Get gifts for dad with huge savings in every department. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture and mattresses, and more. Get a Lenovo laptop for just $399, or a Traeger Pro Series grill for only $499. Get up to 3 years free financing throughout the entire store. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Interest rates may be high everywhere else, but now at Genesis Diamonds, you can get 0 interest on any purchase. 5 years, 0 interest financing with nothing down. Beautiful eternity bands, 1-carat diamond stud earrings, and more. Starting at only $50 a month. At Genesis, we are always looking for ways to do more for our amazing customers. So don't miss this. 5 years, 0 interest financing. Imagine that $6,000 designer ring is just $100 a month. We'll even finance the sales tax. Now through July 1st only. And only at Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Family Leisure is having a come out and play sale.
That's right. Family Leisure is inviting you to come out and play with a new swimming pool, spa, or patio furniture set.
Family Leisure has hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. DIY pools start at only $16.99. 24-foot pools are only $29.99 installed.
Installation in less than 10 days on average.
More than 100 spas in stock and ready for immediate delivery. Artesian, Strong, and LBI spas starting at only $29.99.
What about the patio furniture?
Family Leisure has hundreds of sets in stock and on sale. Hanneman, Woodard, Trabatone, and Loft, all ready for immediate delivery.
Family Leisure also has the Sabre infrared grill in stock and on sale at only $14.99, and the Bull Grill Islands at only $39.99.
And Family Leisure has the Diamond Point Play Gym at only $24.99 installed and ready for immediate delivery.
Pool tables, massage chairs, and theater seating all on sale and ready for immediate delivery.
Come out and play at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Where family and fun come together.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt football head coach Clark Lee. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Good song. Wait, did you request this, D-Mace?
Nah,
Nick
but
came
I
up
like
with this
that.
on his own,
Heat
little
of
En
the
Vogue,
night, man.
going back to the 90s. Solid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, D-Mace hitting the high notes on a Friday. Okay. We are broadcasting live in the Game Studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Ask D-Mace is coming up at 12:30. We've got Dad Joke Friday going on. We've got our text line going. Aquamarine has been submitted for the color of my shirt on the text line. Sounds fancy. I don't know if that's the actual name.
It sounds a little fancier than Seafoam.
Yeah, sounds cooler, I think. Aquamarine sounds more like hip.
I like what Caroline said. I'm going back to that.
You're sticking with her.
Seafoam.
Yeah. Scott in Hendersonville says, do you know the difference between beer nuts and deer nuts? Beer nuts cost about $4 a can, but you can usually find deer nuts under $1.
No way.
Under $1. Okay. Write that one down, D-Base. Scott's got some material for you.
One.
Scott, that's good.
Oh, man. Scott, you can open up for me at Zany's in 2027, 28. I keep on pushing it out.
I don't think you need that long. We got
really
material.
Don't. Yeah, we got material. We got people that can open up for me. Man, that was a good one. I like that one.
So, Derek, earlier this morning, you went on with the NFL guys about DeAndre Hopkins coming to Nashville. I still haven't really heard around the league. I was really curious this morning. I listened to a lot of NFL talk this morning from a national perspective. Mm-hmm. You don't really hear about any other teams. I do wonder about DeAndre Hopkins and the opportunity perhaps that the Titans have in that he's interested enough to come here. But I don't hear like, well, he's going from Nashville, then he's going over to Cleveland, he's going over to Baltimore. You know, I'm not hearing that. So I think they have an opportunity here. I know Mike Vrabel said he doesn't want to recruit anybody, but I was curious to hear if you would start to kind of have reports of a couple other visits that he scheduled, but nothing yet.
And you know, I thought about this yesterday, Willie, after the show. Because, you know, when Teron asked, Coach Vrabel that question, and it wasn't necessarily I don't think he got the answer, Teron, meaning that he thought he was going to get. Because Vrabel, specifically said, listen, I'm not recruiting. I recruited in college. I'm done with that. That's, you either want to be here or you don't. So I'm going to bring this up. And I don't know if, I don't know it to be true or not. But I'm just thinking about the way he answered that question. Is this a Vrabel decision, or is it a Rand Carthon's decision? Say, hey, let's just bring him in here, see what he's about, and kind of go from there. Because the way Mike Vrabel answered the question, like, I'm not recruiting. I'm not in the business of recruiting. Basically, either you want to be here or you don't. I want guys that want to be here, and we will sort of talk to Hop when he gets here and get a feel for him. That made me sort of, was this a Vrabel thing? Was this a Vrabel saying, let's bring him in, or Rand Carthon saying, hey, let's bring him in, talk to him, get a feel for him, and, just to say we kicked that tire.
Okay.
And if you like him, then okay. But let's just see, because he didn't sound 100% like this. Like, I'm glad he's going to be here.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, but he could be just holding the cards close, right, and not really showing them. He does know DeAndre Hopkins. He's
and that
been
could
around
be one
him.
of the reasons why he answered the question the way he did. I know this guy.
I know this guy.
Yeah.
It might mean I know him as in we want him, or I know him and, okay, it's complicated. I don't know if we want him.
Exactly.
I want him at the right price. That's a really interesting thing you're bringing up here is deep down, how does Mike Vrabel feel about DeAndre Hopkins because he's had him around? And New England's another team. Nick just mentioned to me in my ear, that's another team that the other national guys were talking about this morning. And Bill Belichick, you think through the history, he has grabbed aging players. Like he's cut guys that were developed and emerged as great players with the Patriots and then moved on from them even when they were still very productive just because of salary cap stuff. But he's also picked up, remember Corey Dillon?
Yes.
Picked him up, got a lot of good mileage out of him later in his career.
Blunt.
Yes, that's another good one. Randy Moss. Antonio Brown, he even took. Remember him? I mean, it didn't work very long because he screwed it up, but he gave him a chance to come in there. So he's not opposed to doing that. So Hopkins, remember the other connection in New England is Bill O'Brien. And one thing that got discussed this morning, which I thought was interesting, is DeAndre Hopkins has been one of those guys that has not used an agent. And what was weird about the whole trade, remember the whole controversy about the trade. Why in the world would the Texans trade DeAndre Hopkins for what they got for him? It was a fleece by the Cardinals. But remember, Bill O'Brien was the coach and the GM for the Texans at the time. So you had a guy without an agent, and he's negotiating basically with his coach. That's a rare thing that goes on. So that probably was a very difficult thing going back and forth. So you wonder how Bill Belichick views that relationship as he tries to figure out, how do we want to angle to try to get DeAndre Hopkins? So that's you never know what Bill Belichick is thinking inside. He's certainly not going to share it publicly at all. But I wonder about that one. I also wonder about the Browns. So those to me are the three teams that are in the DeAndre Hopkins game, and the Titans have to figure out what to offer. They don't want to offer too much or too little. And like Mike Vrabel said, we don't want to go to the ends of the earth to get this guy. He's got to want to be here.
Yeah, I think there are more teams that would be willing to have him on their roster, but like you said, at the right price. I don't think many teams want to. Well, it's proven because he got released in May, and one, nobody wanted to trade for him really, and then two, you get released in May and crickets for the first 2 weeks, and then now you have a visit here to Nashville. So I think there are people or teams that would love his services, but maybe not at the price that he was thinking. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say D-Hop is not worth what he's asking for. The market will dictate what you are worth. You may in your head have one price, but then the market has another price, and it humbles you because you understand that I am, even though in my mind I still feel like that player, the market's telling you you're not that player. You are still a good player. You're a player that can help us, but you're no longer in the top. You're no longer in that room of, great receivers in today's game. Like these young guys, Chase, Jefferson, Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Waddle, A.J. Brown, Smith, Devontae Smith. Guys like, and I can go down the line. So you're no longer in that room with those guys. So the market will tell you, regardless of what you think, the market will tell you we're not going to pay you, say if it's $15 million. We're not going to pay you $15 million. We'll pay those guys 15 plus, but we're not paying you $15 million. Don't look at Odell's contract. That was sort of a desperation in a sense, like, we want to do something to keep our quarterback here in Baltimore. So what do you need? Well, I need Odell Beckham. I need D-Hop. Well, Odell Beckham was available. DeAndre Hopkins wasn't. So he missed out on that. But in his mind, he probably still believes that, hey, one, I'm that number one receiver, and then two, I should get number one receiver money.
Another thing to keep in mind, we mentioned DeAndre Hopkins for a long time represented himself. He recently has hired an agent. So I couldn't tell you much about Kelton Crenshaw, but he is going to be the agent for DeAndre Hopkins. I wonder how that relationship works, that dynamic in terms of how the deal ends up getting done. Okay, when we come back, more dad jokes, more talk here on the DeAndre Hopkins situation. Coming up at noon, we're going to talk about the running back situation around the league. Some other interesting things going on with veteran running backs, and it does make you think about Derrick Henry and where he sits. 615-737-1025 is the number if you want to call or text us, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase and Michelle, and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The choice is yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
Music City will be rocking June 23rd through the 25th with a different sound. The sound of NASCAR.
Start your engine!
The Ally 400 is back at Nashville Superspeedway, and this year, it's a night race. NASCAR in Nashville. It's guitars and fast cars under the lights. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to get your tickets for the triple header weekend, including the Ally 400, Tennessee Lottery 250, and the Rackley Roofing 200 today.
This week's Nashville's best deal is from River Queen Voyages. It's a fun and unique way to cool off in Nashville this summer. Nashville's River Fun Authority gives you the best views of the city with skyline kayaking, river scavenger hunts, and a party pontoon with your own captain. Book your downtown river adventure at riverqueenvoyages.com. And while supplies last, get half off a $50 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals. That's thegamenashville.com/deals.
Buffalo Bill's Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming welcomes you as you enter Yellowstone Park's East Entrance. 5 museums in one and the greatest firearms museum anywhere. Welcome to the West. Buffalo Bill's Center of the West, Cody, Wyoming.
Bon appetit. Take some Titans.
Derrick Henry.
Some Preds.
Roman Yossi.
Even some hoops.
Light fires. Wow.
Put it in a blender. And what do you have? Chase and Michelle.
Pretty incredible.
Call or text and weigh in.
The fastest 2 hours in sports radio. Weekday mornings at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace continues here on 102.5 The Game. Another entry in What Color Is My Shirt? If you're looking at the Kraken, ice blue. That's what they call their color, which is similar to the one I'm wearing here, which is also similar to what the Freeze wears, which is what started this whole conversation. I was giving you my blow-by-blow of my heartbreak last night.
Because I saw the actual
You still like
text.
the Seafoam.
Yeah, I saw the text because I didn't see the text, but I was just envisioning Seafoam, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah. But then I saw it, and I'm like, that is identical to your shirt, Willie.
Also had a text on our text line from Boz, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. He talks about the Bears being absolutely owned by the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. I wonder if that continues now as the Aaron Rodgers era comes to a close, because it even goes back to Brett Favre. And I can remember when the Bears in the 80s had their great run, they certainly just ragdolled the Packers all over the place. But the Packers have turned the tables on that one. And to the point I can think of several games where Aaron Rodgers, even in close games, he loved to taunt the Bears. Like he threw it in their face, right? I own you. The mic would pick him up as he slid down and, spiked the ball, stopped the clock, 8 seconds to go, let's go out, kick the winning field goal, game over. He would just point like, timeout, I own you. This game's over. We're about to win it. I would agree. We talked about teams who own other teams, like the Braves own the Mets right now. Talking about DeAndre Hopkins and the potential fit here for the Titans and some of the other teams. It looks like the Patriots are in the mix, perhaps the Browns, although it was interesting to really hear the different takes on that. I don't know. They're going to take their swing. They get the first crack at it. It's not a recruiting trip, but when you're first, D-Mace, I do wonder if that's an advantage or disadvantage if he's going to the Patriots after. There are some teams that are like, you're not leaving here until you sign. We don't want you to even go
that's called
to the
kidnapping.
next I know.
That's called kidnapping if they say that. You're not leaving here until you sign a contract.
You've seen people go all in on that.
Yeah, I
though.
get it. I get it.
But we talked about this. You got to be measured, right? You can't overdo it here. You got to realize where you are. It's a very unconventional salary cap structure they have right now with Kevin Byard's tag, with Derrick Henry's tag that we're going to talk about. When I say tag, the salary cap figure that they have right now. Same thing with Tannehill. So, the question that you got today when the national guys were asking you from the NFL radio show was, do you think the Titans can contend? If they had DeAndre Hopkins, it would kind of be like a last hurrah, right? Because you wouldn't know if any of those guys are coming back next year. You could have 4 guys who are veterans that have all done some pretty good things in the league in Byard, Henry, Tannehill, and then Hopkins, and you wouldn't be assured that you would bring any of them back the following year. And you said it yourself. You're like, this could be just to try to get to the playoffs.
Exactly.
Which would be a good accomplishment. We love making the playoffs, but it's an interesting strategy when you're also trying to keep your eye on the future.
Yeah, it's difficult from the standpoint of, okay, we want to try to and I said this morning on the NFL show, that it's not a rebuild. It's sort of a building for the future, and you want to make sure that you stay, because you never want the morale of the team to go down. So even if you're not winning the division, you're not a number 1 seed, if you still have that winning record and you get into the playoffs, it keeps that hope alive of we're heading in the right direction. So everyone's going to continue to buy in what we're preaching. If you tank, not necessarily tank, but if you go the opposite way, 2 seasons in a row, then people start to wonder, like, what's going on here? Is Rabel, the guy moving forward?
You lose the winning culture.
Exactly,
Yeah.
absolutely. So they're trying to do whatever's possible within the confines of the not the collective bargaining, but the salary cap, to keep this team in that win mode. Like, we're still winning. We may not win the Super Bowl.
Our expectation is to win.
It's still expectation to win to get into the playoffs. And if we can do that by adding DeAndre Hopkins and playing this last season with these veterans, then we need to do it. We want to make the Super Bowl, but we know that there's going to have to be some things that happen, some breaks that happen this way or that way in order for us to even achieve that.
I call that threading the needle, right? That's difficult to do. I'm not saying you can't do it, but that's trying to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
We want to try to win. We want to sustain that winning culture, that winning attitude, that belief that we are expected to win, but also be very cognizant of what's coming down the pike in the coming years with the age of some of your key players. So that's where I think the intrigue of the DeAndre Hopkins visit is this would be another veteran who you're not counting on for 2, 3, 4 years. You would be trying to play more for this year. And with the, it ties into the Byard story, the Derrick Henry contract, the Tannehill saga, all of that. Not to mention Will Levis and some of the other young guys you're trying to work in there. So it's a big story. There's no question. I was curious. It was the number 1 story on the NFL league docket this morning, without a doubt. All right, we got a dad joke from Scott. Scott, welcome to the show. You're on 102.5 The Game.
Guys, I don't want to get too controversial, but this is science, and it ties into football, and it even ties into a little bit about the discussion of the color of your shirt. Back during the heavy days of COVID and even into this last year, they found that even though Tennessee had some of the highest rates of anywhere in the world at one point, and they were even having problems with NFL with the players getting them to get the transmission rates down, they did a study. They found out that the Titans had the lowest COVID rate of any team, and it was about half the rate of anywhere else in Tennessee. And the CDC came in, they did a study, and they found out that it was really having to do with some material. And it came down to the type of materials that the Titans were using for their masks, for their jerseys, for everything. And the conclusion is that people who wear the two-tone blue can't catch anything.
Oh my God!
Man, he snuck that in on me. He
did.
Snuck that in.
I'm
on
like,
me.
okay. Where's he going? Where's he going? But I like it at the end. The two-tone can't catch anything.
He kind of created a little diversion, and all of a sudden, snap. Because I think we've all heard some version of "can't catch anything."
Yeah,
but he
set it up. Yeah, he set it up real
it.
well. I like that.
It's like the blitz isn't coming. Nobody's blitzing, and then you
bam,
get blitzed and quarterback sack.
He don't even.
I got
see it.
sacked. Yeah,
tackle don't see it either.
Tackle didn't see it.
That was a good one. I like that.
Good. That was good. All right, we've got one more here. This one is this one was sent with a now I got to find it again. We've got so many of these things. This was sent with a screenshot on the phone, a dad joke. By the way, they're underway in the Super Regionals today. Duke with an early lead against Virginia. Of course, you got Tennessee at Southern Miss. SEC will have at least 2 teams in the College World Series and as many as 4. This one's for TD in Nashville. A little dad joke to end the first hour. What did the fish say when he swam into a wall?
What did the fish say when he
swam into a wall?
I wish I was hooked.
I wish that wall wasn't there. I don't know.
Damn.
Take it.
Teron lives in Nashville, right?
Yeah, we'll take it.
We'll take it.
I like that one.
Okay. Add that to the material. Dad Joke Friday. All right. Ask D-Mace is coming up at 12:30. We'll get back to the text line. We got a lot of people. What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef. Okay. All right. Okay. Hour number 2 is coming up. We'll have Ask D-Mace. But we're going to start the top of the hour with the running back market. The other big story that's starting to happen. Dalvin Cook, who had over 1,000 yards rushing last year and a solid receiving year, decent year. It looks like the Vikings are going to move on. They're going to cut him. So the running back market is in flux, and it kind of puts in context what the Titans see in Derrick Henry and how they continue to sort of go against the grain of what most other teams do in the NFL when it comes to running backs. We'll talk more about that when we come back here on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace, 102.5 The Game.
The Stanley Cup Final lives here. Which team will hoist Lord Stanley's Cup in 2023? Follow all the action on Smashville's home for postseason hockey. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
When Smashville wants to rock. We are Nashville's rock station. 102.9 The Buzz.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce in custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
102.5 The Game and Green Trees Company Dispensary want to send you to see Bryan Adams at Bridgestone Arena. Saturday, June 17th, with very special guest Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Listen all week long to Robbie and Rexroad for your cue to call to win tickets to Bryan Adams and Joan Jett at Bridgestone Arena.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Keyser. The Florida Panthers hosted Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final last night, the first time since 1996 in South Beach, and it was an overtime thriller. With 2:13 to play in regulation, it was forward Matthew Tkachuk who tied the game at 2, and then Florida's overtime hero showed up. Here's the call on the Panthers Radio Network.
Bennett off the near side, looks across Verhaeghe, high slide shot. He scores! Connor Verhaeghe, the overtime winner here in Game 3. The Panthers take it 3-2 the final.
And the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat are back on the hardwood tonight for Game 4 of the NBA Finals after the Nuggets claimed Game 3. And the Nashville Sounds are back in action tonight at 5:50 p.m. against the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gun performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
hour number 2, Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace here on this Friday afternoon. A little Dad Joke Friday with you. Willie Donick, Derek Mason. Caroline is on the afternoon shift today, filling in for Jared.
Yes.
So you can stay tuned for her a little bit later. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in, share your own little dad joke. Been talking a lot of football today. Ask D-Mace is coming up at the bottom of the hour, so you could win a prize for the best question of D-Mace. We like to branch out sports and non-sports in that situation. We'll also mix in a little hockey, a little hoops a little bit later in the show. But a big story today, Derek, or I guess it broke yesterday, Vikings plan to release Dalvin Cook. Mm-hmm. And it really got me thinking as this discussion was going on. This was I'm reading a story from Kevin Seifert. I'm not sure exactly who broke the story, but I guess it was Adam Schefter that maybe had it. The Vikings have informed Dalvin Cook that they plan to release him. They were expected to try and trade Cook one more time Thursday, but they now plan to process his release on Friday, according to a source. 6 years in Minnesota. He was set to take up $14.1 million in cap space for 2023 and was due to earn $11 million if he spent the season with the Vikings. Those are big numbers for an aging running back. Now, aging turns 28 in August.
Exactly.
Aging.
He's
running
not
back.
aging. But then the way they worded it, it's like he's getting out of prison. Process his release. It's like, is the man getting out of prison? It's like, goodness.
The Vikings would only owe Cook $2 million if they release him. By doing so after June 1st, they save $9 million in cap space while taking on $5.1 million in dead money on their 2023 cap. Okay, let's just look at Dalvin Cook. Last year, 1,173 yards rushing. Played all 17 games.
Yeah.
4.4 yards a carry. Almost 300 more yards receiving, 295. 10 total touchdowns. Sounds like a pretty good year. They are releasing him. They get nothing for him. He is just turning 28. 6 years in the league. Remember, he had a bad injury his first year. Only played 4 games. And that it looked like he was really going to be something special. It took him another couple years to really get going. He's had 4 straight years of at least 1,100 yards receiving. At least 1,100 yards rushing. And he's a solid pass catcher as well. They are releasing him. Now, it was not a super efficient season. Football Outsiders ranked him only 36th as a runner last year. So efficiency, maybe not quite as solid as the numbers look, but it comes back to the same thing. teams think that they can get production from running backs for cheap prices. Let's take Miles Sanders. We just talked about him yesterday.
He came off a 1,300-yard rushing season.
He had a great year. I snuck him in there. I just took a pick late in the fantasy draft. He didn't have a single touchdown 2 years ago. He had a great year.
Mm-hmm.
Did that get him a paycheck from the Eagles? Nope. It got him a ticket out of there, and he's with Carolina now. Now maybe he'll do well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this whole thing with, remember when Derrick Henry got the big foot injury, they found ways to have a good running attack, right? With Hilliard, and Foreman. Foreman parlays that into a good deal with Carolina. It was pretty good last year. So all that comes back. I just started thinking a lot of Derrick Henry. How much value the Titans place in Derrick Henry. It is so against the grain of most of the other teams. When you see Dalvin Cook is a great example.
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why, even if they tried to move Derrick Henry, which I don't think they tried to this season, they may have listened to calls, but they were not proactive in trying to trade him.
But I think it looks like the Vikings tried to trade Dalvin Cook and got crickets on the other end.
There's
right?
no market for these running backs, regardless.
Not at that price.
Yeah, and not at that price. Regardless, you got to be coming off of a Derrick Henry 2,000-yard year, and you're still like 25, 26 years old. And if you just so happen hits the market then you can sort of parlay that into a huge deal. Or if teams looking to trade for you, you may get back more at that particular time than you would at any other time. They just view the running back situation totally different. But in looking at Dalvin Cook's career, last year was the first year he played all 17 games. Like, he finished the whole season. He's missed at least 3 games every year prior to last year, and it had to do with injury. But as good as Dalvin Cook is, he is injury prone. And, you would think for a guy, he had 300 carries in 2020, which was his best year with 1,500 yards, average 5 yards a carry. 16 touchdowns. That was his year. Every year after that, he's sort of gone downhill. So they're just they're just reading the tea leaves. Like, listen, and other teams are as well. Listen, we'll trade for him, but we're not giving up much. We'll give you maybe a 5th or 6th round pick for him, but we're not giving you anything above that. And they were almost forced, just like Arizona was forced to release DeAndre Hopkins because there was not a trade market. The Minnesota Vikings were forced to release Dalvin Cook because there was not a trade market for him. Now, there are going to be teams that are going to love his services. But again, like D-Hop, what do we think he deserves, and what does the market tells him he will get?
Yes.
And that had to be the same way with Derrick Henry. We're not going to trade him because we're not going to get back anything. Yeah.
Nobody's trading for running back.
Exactly. So it makes sense. He fits what we do as an offense. So we're going to keep him. Now, next year may be a different story. They just may release him, and let him go his way. But this year, he still fits what they want to do from an offensive standpoint. And he gives them an opportunity to at least have, at this particular time, the way the offense sits, at least Derrick Henry gives them the ability to run the football, to have some sense of an offense with him in the backfield. You take him out the backfield, where are you going to get your production? Spears might give it to you, and Hassan Haskins might give it to you, but they're not giving it to you at the rate that Derrick Henry would.
Right. And so a lot of speculation on Dalvin Cook maybe to Miami. And they had a committee of backs last year that had a good game here, bad game there. Raheem Mostert, Wilson. That looks like that could be a fit there. But I was listening to Bill Polian this morning on NFL radio. He comes on with Jared some in the afternoons. We've had great conversations with him. I really enjoy his perspective. He goes back a long way to really the beginning of the salary cap. And he's very good at talking in terms that don't go over everybody's head with salary cap stuff. But his rule of thumb with running backs, this was interesting. Because there's another running back I'm going to bring up in a second, too, who's at this stage of his career. Because we can relate to all these guys because we do our fantasy draft every year, and we always ask, who should I draft? You got to have the running backs. You got to have them.
You got to have.
So who are those high picks? We know Derrick Henry's always up there. Dalvin Cook's been up there in a lot of fantasy leagues, right? The guys they were going to get the ball a lot. But he says with running backs like that, the time is ticking. 6 years, he says, was what he thinks a running back's window is, who is going to get the ball a lot. The shelf life is 6 years. And then he says at that point there is going to be a decline. And then after about 8 years, watch out for the wall. That's basically what he was saying. Mm-hmm. So the Vikings have set themselves up where they paid Dalvin Cook. They made an investment in him. They paid good money for Dalvin Cook. But they are now basically saying, let's get out early rather than late. We've structured the contract. We're not paying a huge price. The cap hit we just talked about, not that bad. It's not like you're taking a huge hit of dead money. So the Titans with Derrick Henry, who is 20, he's 29, right? He's a little bit older. Now remember, early he maybe didn't have quite the miles that he started to get after a couple years, but the dead cap hit would be $10 million. So they're married to him. The cap figure is very, very high right now, but it is so against the grain. But next year, could we be having this conversation about Derrick Henry? Mm-hmm. It's a very good possibility. He's not a free agent next year, right? But you would be in the situation that the Vikings are in with Dalvin Cook, where you're not on the hook for a lot of dead money if you let him go at that point. And it's an emotional attachment. This is the other thing that Bill Polian talked about. He's going to your owner and saying it's time to move on from – and I remember this with Eddie George. Mm-hmm. It was emotional, right? It was not easy for Floyd Reese because he loved Eddie George, right? Mm-hmm. And the fans were like, how can you possibly be considering moving on from Eddie George? You got to be kidding. But it gets to that point, and it's not there with Derrick Henry, but I wonder what Vikings fans are thinking there. They've seen Dalvin Cook, and he just had a good year.
Yeah, he did.
He did a pretty good year, production-wise. The other back that it's happening to, Joe Mixon in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. He did an interview at his youth camp. He said he's not fretting about the speculation about the Bengals moving on from his hefty contract, but think about Joe Mixon. How long has he been in the league? 6 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Started tapering off a little bit last year, correct?
Yeah.
Concussion. Mm-hmm. And by the playoffs, it was like
he wasn't the same back.
They were going with P. Ryan a little bit more. It was more of a committee. He wasn't that featured back. Like next year, I would guess that you wouldn't pick him as your number one running back anymore. He was my number one running back.
He's not going to be your number one running back anymore.
But he's making good money, and so the Bengals have tough decisions because they're a really good team. So how do you value the running back?
I ran across an article, and I'm trying to, give the give credit to, but I can't.
All right, well, hold that thought because we're going to come back to this. Okay. But again, it has me looking into my crystal ball and saying, what is this year going to be like for Derrick Henry, and are we going to be sitting here talking about Derrick Henry among these running backs? Ezekiel Elliott is still a free agent. Mm-hmm. Kareem Hunt, still a free agent. There's some running backs out there who have done a lot of good things in this league who are open market guys right now. Stay tuned. We're going to come back to this topic in a moment. You got a thought? 615-737-1025 is the number. This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
Every day we are live and local.
They played tough. They came back, and they still lost.
And your source for Nashville sports.
Yes, you want to have a fire sale, but who's going to buy those players?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, You can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Mom, we're out of potato chips.
Teenagers, they'll eat you out of house and home, kind of like health insurance, which can take a big bite out of the family budget. Fortunately, with Farm Bureau Health Plan's Core Choice coverage, we can save $3,600 a year compared to the leading competitor. And we've got better coverage with a lower premium, lower deductible, free telehealth visits, and access to one of the largest networks available.
Can we order pizza?
Visit FBHP.com or your local Farm Bureau office today.
AM radio provides always-on news, sports, talk, traffic, and weather reports. And it's also a vital service that provides important emergency information when your community needs it most. Tell Congress you need AM radio to stay in your car. Because when cell phones and the internet are down, this free emergency service is critical. And when you don't have electricity, radio in the car is often your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years? The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. You can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every day. You can see my ice blue Seafoam shirt in Ode to the
Seafoam,
Freeze
yes.
in Atlanta last night. You put on a great show, Braves, Mets. What a game that was. Heartbreaking for me, a Mets fan. But our video streaming every day brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. You can weigh in on our text line. Ask D-Mace is coming up at the bottom of the hour. It's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We're talking running backs. Dalvin Cook is on the verge of getting released. 6 years in the league, got paid well, had a good year last year. Vikings moving on. Couldn't trade him. They're going to release him. Joe Mixon in Cincinnati. 6 years in the league. Started to drop off a little bit last year, but still a very good player. Getting paid pretty big money. Big money. Bengals trying to figure out who do we need to keep. You've got T. Higgins they're trying to keep. You've got Joe Burrow that's going to sign a big contract. But running backs who are really good, really productive, after about 6 years, teams are not finding any trade value, and they are moving on from really good players who they've paid a lot of money. Derrick Henry, by the way, has completed his 7th year in the league. He is going to be 29. He has a very, very big cap hit, especially for a running back his age. But doesn't look like he's going anywhere, even though they had those rumors of he was being shopped around. The reality is nobody trades for veteran running backs making that kind of money. It's too big of a risk. But you ran across an article along those lines.
I ran across an article out of Wisconsin, and I want to give them the credit. It's WeSportsHeroics.com, and they pulled up this article because of, and it was February of 2023, which is this year. Aaron Jones, their running back, and trying to, break down after you get a certain age, how many backs are rushing over 1,000 yards, and they broke it down all the way going back from the 1970s with AFL, NFL merger, all the way up to current date. And it's interesting because you got the most production, the most 1,000-yard productions out of a running back at the age of 26. There's been 90.
So that would be the prime, 26.
98 runners, 26, 98 runners over 1,000 yards. But as you start to go, you start to see that number dip. 27.79, 28.61, 29.42. Now here is where it's sort of, this is why many believe at the age of 30, that's when majority of the running backs sort of
hit the wall,
fall off the cliff. And that's why teams.
It's a bad combo. You hit the wall, then you fall off the cliff. That's bad. Nothing good's coming out of that.
Exactly. That's why teams try to move away from a back at the age of 30 or right before. Because at the age of 30, 24 backs. Age of 31, 13 backs. 32, 7. 33, 3. 34 and 35, 1.
1. Who was the one?
So,
that's a good one. I'd like to know.
I'm going to find out who that. And I think.
Is it Frank Gore?
It might have been Frank Gore. That's what I'm thinking. May have been Frank Gore. How old was Ricky Williams when he retired?
Oh.
He had to be 33 somewhere around
he
there.
had an interesting career path.
Yeah, he did. Warwick Dunn, I know he had 2 back-to-back.
Jerome Bettis played for a long time.
Yeah, he had his at 30 and 31.
So there's those exceptions that find ways to stay in the league for a while, but it's so common that once you hit that 28, you've spent about 6 years in the league, you start to drop off. This was the Bill Polian philosophy. But you can back these numbers. What Derek is looking at is a lot of research that a lot of people done. Mm-hmm. And so analytics people will tell you, start to distance yourself when a guy hits that age. So that the Titans are showing a lot of faith in Derrick Henry, and that's the specialness of him. His value to the team goes beyond his production. And, hey, the 1,500 yards, nothing to sneeze at. He had a good year last year. Very good year.
And his receiving yards were the best he's had since he's been a Titan.
And yet it's still efficiency-wise, people think he's declining, but he's still, I would say, the exception. Mm-hmm. But what can you expect this year? And then what happens after this year? This is what I've always just dreading the day because it's going to happen at some point. I hope it doesn't happen even next year. But the reality is next year is probably the year.
Wow.
At the end of the season, there's going to be a lot of, is he coming back?
This upcoming season.
No, I'm saying after this season.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be a Titan this season.
After this season, this is when I think a lot of those, like sort of the exit interviews, I think a lot of the interviews from the media with Derrick Henry, with Ryan Tannehill, Kevin Byard, do you feel you will be back next year?
Yeah. Oh, and I would go as far as to say whenever their last game is or potentially could be if they're lucky enough to be in the playoffs, it's going to be, is this the last time you see Derrick? I think you're going to have that kind of theme going. Like people are going to want to say goodbye if it's coming to that, and you may not know. Especially if he has another good year. Be really intriguing if he continues to buck the trend.
Yeah.
And he has another really good year. What do you do if you're the Titans? We just see Dalvin Cook released after having 1,100 yards, career player for the Vikings. In fact, we got a text here from a Vikings fan. It's sad. We all love Dalvin, but we saw the regression. We saw the efficiency going down. We surely understand why it happened. Wish him the best for sure.
I'm glad we had a Viking fan text in because we're just like those who talk about the Titans from the outside looking in. They don't quite know, what's going on. That's how we look at Minnesota. It's like it seems like Dalvin Cook is still doing his thing, but you did bring up the efficiency of him being the 32nd or 34th best running back. But if
in
you're
terms of efficiency on Football Outsiders, he ranked 36th.
36. So, but those that watch the Vikings week in and week out, they see Dalvin Cook on every play. We only see the highlights of Dalvin Cook breaking a tackle.
We look at our fantasy stats, and as long as he's getting the yards, okay, he got to be 9 fantasy points. Okay, good.
But they're seeing the actual. We're watching the whole game, and Dalvin Cook is not as good as he has been. Now, again, his peak year was 26 years old. I think, 26, 27? No, 26 when he had 1,500 yards. That, I believe, was his peak year, 1,500 yards, over double-digit touchdowns, over 500-yard receiving. And then after that, everything sort of declined from there. But when you look at Derrick Henry, I'm not going to say it has been a decline, but I'm sure if we went to Pro Football Outsiders.
Yeah, Football Outsiders, he ranked
that his efficiency was down as well.
It's down from where it's been, for sure. Mm-hmm. He was, I'm looking for it here, 27th in overall efficiency. And again, you can poke holes in how each one of these analytics sites does it, but the analytics group all would say he's down a little bit, if not significantly, from his peak when he was 2,000 yards.
But he's not
dominating games. He can still be a great reason why you win, for sure.
Absolutely. But he's not, because we mentioned this last year in watching Derrick Henry. And I still will believe until it changes that Derrick Henry is the best runner of the football from the running back position in the National Football League. And until he shows me otherwise, then I'm going to continue to believe that. But there were times last year where we either said, man, Derrick Henry 2 years ago would outran them, or Derrick Henry 2 years ago would have stiff-armed that guy and been gone. Yeah. He got tackled too many times by single players, and I'm talking about linebackers and corners or safeties. The stiff arm wasn't as prominent as it had been the year prior, and definitely not like it was the year prior to that. So we may see small little regressions, but then you look at the stat sheet at the end of the season, it's like, man, this guy had 1,500 yards, averaged over 4 yards a carry, had double-digit touchdowns. Like, where do you see the drop-off? But I think in this league, if you are a good running back, which I believe Derrick Henry is, if you stay healthy, these are the things that is going to come, because of your health, because you're able to be out there 17 games. A guy of Derrick Henry's caliber is going to rush for 1,000 yards. He could probably do that in his sleep if he's healthy,
And that's the thing that has changed, right? I think if you ask
1,000 yards is no more than
exactly.
It's
not
like,
the yards. It's not the
exactly.
yards. It's how do you get the yards? Mm-hmm. Are you efficient in how you get the yards? And what's happening with the offense as a whole? Are there other guys? And that brings us to Tim Kelly, right? How is he going to use Derrick Henry? How does he get the most efficient work out of Derrick Henry and the entire offense?
Because you remember back in the day when 1,000 yards for a running back was just like,
they got 1,000-yard back. He's rushed for 1,000 yards in 4 straight seasons.
But now
nobody questioned anything.
Exactly. But now it's different because you essentially only have to average less than 65 yards to get 1,000, and teams don't look at 1,000 yards anymore as that milestone. Like, oh my goodness, they're like, you should now. You got to give us more than just 1,000 yards. You got to give us something in the passing game as well.
Right. Or we're not worried about it. Don't even worry about the 1,000 yards. You give us, you're going to split time with these 2 other backs, and the 3 of them combined are going to give us what we need between rushing yards, receiving yards, pass blocking, efficiency, all of those things. And for a lot less money, rather than to pay one guy like Derrick Henry the money they're paying. So they've got the unconventional approach, salary cap wise. Very few teams, and you add Byard, would pay a safety what they're paying, and a running back what they're paying. So it's different than most. And now think about the running back market for free agents. For veteran running back, you want a veteran running back? They're out there. You got Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
we'll see about Joe Mixon. That's a big story right now in Cincinnati. These are good running backs. They're not 35.
These are guys that can still help your team.
Yeah, but for what price and what's their role going to be? That's something to really watch for here.
Exactly.
In the next few weeks to see with this offseason going forward. All right, time to Ask D-Mace. That's coming up next. We've got Dad Joke Friday. We've already got a couple dad jokes lined up. But remember, you can ask D-Mace anything you want. It doesn't have to be about football. It can be about life. Derek has solved a lot of people's problems.
Yes.
In this D-Mace. I mean, they ask him questions about life. Derek has good advice. He's a good life coach.
Absolutely.
Let me just start this with it. Hey, Derek, did you know it's illegal to laugh out loud in Hawaii? Did you know this, Derek?
Is it?
Apparently, you have to keep it to aloha. Aloha. Ask D-Mace is coming up here on Dad Joke Friday, 102.5 The Game.
The offseason is in full swing, but there's no slowing down ESPN's Teron Davenport.
The flow of information.
He talks the talk.
Spears gives you that guy that can still hit the home run.
And walks the walk.
As a run blocker, he's going to murder a linebacker at the second level.
On everything Titans. TD is on Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast. TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Gear up for spring at Coleman Tractor Company with Kubota zero turns and subcompact tractors in stock now and ready to work. Mow, dig, haul, and lift with the Kubota BX23S tractor loader backhoe. Now through June 30th, save up to $2,500 on BX23S models. Visit Coleman Tractor in Paris, Clarksville, Nashville, and White House today. Now through June 30th. See KubotaUSA.com for more information.
Buffalo Bill's Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming welcomes you as you enter Yellowstone Park's East Entrance. 5 museums in one and the greatest firearms museum anywhere. Welcome to the West. Buffalo Bill's Center of the West, Cody, Wyoming.
Tonight, I've got a bonfire at the lake with friends. First, I need a spritz of my off-clean feel. My summer style is all about fun and not about... I don't need Mosquito Bite Red clashing with this crochet top. It's purple, it's bright. I could definitely pair it with my amethyst eyeshadow palette. The best part is, ugly mosquitoes won't be messing with my fiery vibes. With Off Clean Feel, I've got 8 hours of not sticky, fragrance-free protection. Get your pre-party protection on with Off Clean Feel. SC Johnson, a family company.
Hey, this is Pekka Rinne. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mace.
We'll welcome you in.
Now on Caroline, Willie, and
D-Mace.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Okay. It is time to ask D-Mace, which means
Bring it on.
We've got the text line ready to roll. 615-737-1025. And the contest really is to help the show, enhance the show, let D-Mace help you, and let's have some fun here on this Friday. 615-737-1025. Speaking of fun, the giveaway today is for Tenacious D, and they are coming to the Ascend Amphitheater. And so if you want to go to that, that is the prize today. So if you want to work Jack Black in to the show, you can do that. So it's quite the band, Tenacious D. If you enjoy that type of show, they are coming in. So that could give you some extra incentive to ask D-Mace. So jump on in there, and we will get it rolling here. It is also Dad Joke Friday, so if you are a comedian, feel free to try to showcase your dad joke talent here.
Please do.
Let's see here. Here's an interesting one to get it started. This is from Tommy. D-Mace, can you put in a little input to the Titans and bring back the red jerseys? You remember the red jerseys?
Yeah, they were never
worn in a game.
That was always this sort of it was the jersey that wasn't meant to be worn, but people thought it was a part of our, uniform, but it never was a part of our uniform. We never, the coaches, Jeff or never, or Floyd, or even Bud, never said these are going to be an alternate jersey for us. We found out about the jersey sort of like the fans did. We were like, whoa, it does look good.
They sold a bunch of those.
That we were going to wear them, but it was never a part of our uniform palette.
it was really weird how suddenly everybody was buying those. I remember those. The Christmas night game against the Cowboys, you remember that?
Uh-huh.
And you guys just destroyed the Cowboys.
Yeah, had a good game that day.
Yeah, that was a
good game. Yeah.
Christmas celebration. It is always fun to beat the Cowboys. That night was great. I saw so many people wearing the red jersey that night.
With the blue on top?
Yeah. I mean, it was a Titans jersey, it just was red. And people that night, I remember during our post-game coverage, they were saying, when are they going to wear these in the game? They got to wear these in the game. I love these.
They were nice.
Never happened.
But I don't think it ever was I don't know if it ever was a discussion outside of, the locker room. I'm talking about upper management, the owners, as far as should we wear the jerseys or not. I think that was all promotional.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. And it is always a philosophical discussion. How far outside of your colors
do you go?
The NBA has decided that, a team could have about 4 color schemes. It doesn't really matter. Like, sometimes you look up there and you're like, wait a minute. What jerseys are they wearing tonight? Like, the Nuggets are a good example. Mm-hmm. They have a bunch of different jerseys. The Warriors do. Most of the NBA teams now, they will have a completely different color scheme altogether for some of their uniforms. Remember the Jazz? They went to that.
Yeah, oh, man.
It looked like the Phoenix Suns. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, that's not Utah is the Suns? The Astros? What's going on? What team is this? I like the distinction of seeing a color scheme and knowing that it's a certain team. I think there's a value to that too. Got another one for D-Mace here. I lost it. Okay. Text. D-Mace, what are the expectations coming into the visit with DeAndre Hopkins? If he leaves Nashville without a deal, do you expect him to be a Titan? We know he's going to New England after he goes here. We don't know about anything else at this point, but your thoughts?
I'm not going to say that, if he leaves here without signing a contract, that, it's a done deal for the Titans. They would have to wow him with, the contract, not necessarily, the things outside of that, but because he's going to come in and he's going to talk to Vrabel and he's going to see the facility and, he knows what type of team this is. He knows the players on defense because he's played against them. He's watched Tannehill. He knows about Derrick Henry. He knows Tim Kelly. So to me, if he gets out of this building without a contract, it's probably because there was not a contract offered. And the likelihood of him then coming back, doubling back, unless he goes to New England and New England doesn't offer a contract and he goes to another team and, the money's low, then he might double back around to the Titans. But if he leaves the building, I think the chances of them signing him are slim.
Would you at least offer him a contract before he leaves the building? Say, here's what we're talking, or would you hold back before you went there? I don't know how that works.
I think I would hold back. Unless you really want him, then I think you allow the market to take place. You allow him to go and visit other teams, and if the market's not what he thinks, he may double back around anyway.
He has an agent now, which is interesting. He used to not. Mm-hmm. So you would have to offer him a contract to him, and you don't want to offend him, right?
Exactly.
He'd be like, what?
So I think
that's what you're offering.
But I don't expect him to sign a contract. I don't. I expect him to take his visits.
Take his time.
Then take his time and then, sign the best deal he believes is out there for him.
615-737-1025 is the number for Ask D-Mace. Let's get to Doug, who is on the line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Doug, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me. I think this segment needs to be prompted with the song by the Beatles. I need somebody help, not just anybody help.
Okay.
I need help.
Uh-oh.
Doug
needs help.
I've got a window situation. Mischievous kids in the neighborhood, BB gun shot my window. Can't figure out who it is. I'm thinking, okay, insurance, fix it. 45 minutes prior to fixing, they say, the window's not here. I done shut my day down, so got a second day of repair. Get it repaired. The other day I noticed there's a streak in the window. It's in the glass. So he comes today and he said, I got to order you another glass. I need help. Do I stay with this window repair people, or do I move on and find somebody else?
So you're saying
I don't
window
like
efficiency outsiders. Their analytics would be low efficiency.
Exactly.
They're not getting the job done.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I tell them all the time, I don't like exercising your lifetime warranty every week.
Yeah, you're right about that. Shoot, man. That this is it's one of those situations, if I do go in another direction, how long then will I have to wait for a window? Obviously, the window's in place now will be the window that stays there until they come and repair the window. Another company comes and repairs it. But if they've already did the job and, you've had a rapport with them, then, get them to fix it again. If they don't fix it, then you may have to go another route. But, it just depends on if you want to have somebody else come out and they look at the window, and it may take them a couple of days, and you don't want to deal with other people, then go with the guys or girls or the company that's going to only take a couple of days. But if it's going to take like a couple of weeks, then you may want to stay with the people you're with.
Now, Doug, the BB gun that hit the window, these are not the bad kids that we were talking about last week, were they?
No, those bad kids last week were relatives. These are just kids in the neighborhood.
Oh no!
But thank you for the advice. But I cannot take the advice without a free joke. We're 6 months from Christmas, so people are making Christmas items. You're starting to purchase things. What do you call a wreath made out of $100 bills?
A wreath made out of $100 bills.
Mine?
Yeah, Christmas wreath. A Christmas wreath. What do you call it?
I don't know. I call it mine. I'm gonna take it.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in you, man. In honor of Michigan, you call it a Aretha Franklin's. I'm out of here.
That's pretty good.
Thanks,
Aretha
Doug.
I like
Aretha
that.
Franklin's.
Aretha Franklin's.
Oh, we need to get some Aretha.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Coming
I
back,
like
we
that.
will have a second segment of Ask
I like
D-Mace,
that.
and we will bring it back with Aretha Franklin. Doug, as usual, has lifted the show.
Doug.
Now we've got everybody lined up. The text line, it was stuck for a second. All of a sudden, it blew up with 10 new questions for D-Mace here. We are ready to go. 615-737-1025. Ask D-Mace. You can call or text, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and ponder this from JD. Derek, going into the break. D-Mace, why do we park on the driveway and drive on the parkway?
That is the age-old question.
An oldie but goodie, yes. Okay, we're coming back with more on this Friday afternoon here on 102.5 The Game.
This fall,
Andy, 24-21, your final.
The Game.
All by himself for a one-hand flush.
Gets bigger.
The doors on the board.
Your new home for Vanderbilt Athletics is 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan. Football, men's basketball, baseball, and women's basketball all live here. Your home for Vanderbilt Athletics is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
In football, we all take our hits, but protection keeps you in the game. That's why I always wear my helmet and pads on the field. Life, too, comes with risk. So I got vaccinated for COVID-19. Hi, this is former Tennessee Titans, 3-time Pro Bowl defensive end Javon Kearse. Talk to your doctor and get the information you need to make an informed choice. Gear up, Tennessee. Protect yourself and your family against COVID-19.
For more information, go to NFLAGearUp.org/Tennessee.
Calling all Nashville Sounds baseball fans. You know the 312 Pizza Company in Germantown is the best place to be before or after a Sounds game, but this season, it gets even better. Stop by 312 Pizza Company before or after any Nashville Sounds home game with your day of ticket and get a free old-style beer. That's right, you get a free old-style beer from 312 Pizza just for watching Sounds baseball, only redeemable with purchase. See you at 312 Pizza Company all baseball season long. 312 Pizza Company, a proud sponsor of your Nashville Sounds.
Men, at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, our urologists and providers have been helping guys with erectile dysfunction and other sexual health issues for years. And unlike some, at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we take a comprehensive approach to your sexual health. Our sole focus is to treat ED and related conditions. ED can be affected by a bunch of things, from hormones, prostate issues, medical conditions, and even simply aging. The fact is, most guys experience it at some point in life. If you're suffering with ED, it's extremely important to see a provider that understands how your medical conditions, hormone levels, and other factors can impact your ability to have sex. That's why you should come to the Tennessee Men's Clinic, where we have treatments that are effective in nearly 90% of cases. I can't tell you how many guys we've seen that thought their situation was hopeless, only to be wildly surprised. So give us a call today. We'll do some blood work with a T-check and a medical consult to give you the best shot at success. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices, Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
Titans have actually made a move, finalizing a 1-year deal.
Strong-willed opinions.
No, I disagree. No, I totally disagree with that.
And sometimes, some old man takes...
Don't want those cooked carrots that are 5 days old.
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
D-Mace.
He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mace.
We'll welcome you in.
Now on Caroline, Willie, and
D-Mace.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Segment 2 of Ask D-Mace here on this Friday afternoon. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Caroline's got the afternoon shift today. And so she is not with us. She is not at a wedding, just for the record. Maybe she's heading to one after the show this afternoon. But, the suit's out of town. We're all picking up the slack.
Yeah.
With the suit out, the double suit.
The double suit.
And you can take that to the bank, which we will have in 1 hour.
Yes. Brand new sponsor, F&M Bank. Take it to the bank. I hit mine last week.
Did you?
Woo-hoo!
I didn't. I didn't hit mine.
I finally hit one. We've done this 3 times. I'm 1 for 3. I'm betting 333. That's pretty good.
Well, I did hit mine last week, didn't I? No, Jimmy Butler didn't score 30.
No, you said 30 points and what did you say, a triple-double or something?
Triple. They won, but they didn't have a triple. He didn't have a triple.
So you got a partial.
Points.
You got a partial.
A partial. Yeah.
Because, people were calling for the collapse of the Heat. They did not.
They held up there in the bargain.
Caroline tried to one-up and go for the 40-piece.
Yeah.
So she crashed and burned. She got a little too excited about the F&M Bank ticket to the bank. The deposit was too big.
Yeah, it's too big.
All right, let's get back to Ask D-Mace. Zach in Nashville says, D-Mace, where is the most random place you've been recognized by a fan? Random
place. Oh, man.
Might be tonight, too.
Yeah. Man, gosh, the most random place. I've been the most random place was out in Utah when I was visiting Utah.
Okay. So you were thinking you were probably kind of low profile out there.
Like nobody's in Utah.
It's not an NFL market.
It's not an NFL market. And somebody
was this like in the mountains, or were you in like Salt Lake
we
City?
We were out hiking.
Okay.
So we were We stayed in not Salt Lake, but what's the other popular town there? The ski town. That everybody goes to.
Are you talking about like Lake Tahoe area, like Reno or something?
No, gosh, I forgot the name of the place. Another sort of up and coming city. It's a city where a lot of people go. Cannes is there. The Cannes Festival.
And this is where they recognize you.
Yeah, it was like in that area. We were in the mountains hiking.
It's a small group of people that, hey.
Was it Provo?
No, not Provo. I don't know why I can't remember the city. I've been there twice and can't remember it. Like, damn shame.
I feel better because I've been forgetting stuff all week. All right, Brian from Hendersonville. Oh, now my phone's triggering something here. Blocked my screen all of a sudden. Brian in Hendersonville. D-Mace, what do you call a superhero with a lisp that just finished working out?
Not Mike Tyson.
Oh, see, Mike Tyson's going to...
yeah, I'm sending this to Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson is going to... Nick better watch his back.
Exactly. I don't know.
Mighty Thor.
I'm Mighty Thor.
A superhero with a lisp that just finished working out. Mighty Thor.
Okay, I get it. Mighty Thor.
Brian, getting in on Dad Joke Friday.
Man.
I feel like the listeners are...
Park City, that's what it was. Park City.
Thank you,
Emily. Appreciate it. Park City, Utah. Yeah, that's where Cannes is at. The Cannes Festival, I believe.
What is the Cannes Festival?
It's like I think it's like a movie festival for...
Interesting.
Not entertainers, actors, celebrities come and
No Eddie George there, right?
No, not at the time I was there. I didn't go during the Cannes. I just went there.
Eddie has cameoed in very strange things. I'm watching a show called Shooter, and I saw him in there.
Oh wow, I haven't. Are you talking about the one with the Mark Wahlberg?
No,
Shooter?
This is something different.
Oh okay.
Oh okay. Freddie is on the line with us, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Keep them coming for D-Mace. We got a few more, and Tenacious D concert. That is our prize today for the best Ask D-Mace question. 615-737-1025. Freddie, what's your question for D-Mace?
Hey, good. I appreciate y'all taking my call, man. I want to ask you a question. I just hang up and listen to you. Okay, I work with Ed George, I guess you can say Clyde Simmons and Joe Bowen, all of them on the same coaching staff. Now, I don't get to talk to Ed much because I know he's busy, even though he's our coach. But my question is, I can't ask Clyde and Joe because evidently they defensive players. But being Ed on the offense, okay, if I'm correct, can the Titans drop a guy from Michigan, a running back?
Yes.
I can't think of his name.
Hassan Haskins.
Okay, but I never hear them talking about him or nothing. Is that the reason why they brought another running back in? Because I never heard of this guy, but I thought Haskins was a pretty good running back. So I just want to know if anybody knows the status on him and I hang up. I appreciate the call, guys. Thank
All right, Freddie, good to hear from you.
Freddie.
Thank you.
That's what, I was thinking when they drafted Spears, what is going on with Hassan Haskins? Because, he did show flashes of a guy that can run between the tackles, a physical runner. He's shown that he can catch the ball out the backfield. I watched him when he was in Michigan, and y'all know I don't say many glowing things about the Wolverines at all, but Hassan Haskins was a damn good runner for the Wolverines, and they drafted him high enough. What was he, a fourth-round pick, I believe?
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah, so I think he's still in the plans for them, but they needed Spears is more of a dynamic back. I think Hassan Haskins eventually will be, and I'm not saying Spears can't, but I think Hassan Haskins will be that between the runner back guy, burst of speed, a guy that can get you some yardage and get downhill fast and physical. And Spears will be the change of pace back, knowing that he too can run between the tackles. So I think they're going to have a good, and this is what they're banking on, a good yin and a yang between those two whenever they do move away from Derrick Henry.
So when looking at the stats for the running back that helped Freddie out here, so Hillard actually got more yardage than Haskins did this past season. They were close, but Hilliard had 145 yards rushing, while Haskins had only 93. Now, Haskins appeared in 15 games, while obviously Dontrell got hurt and didn't get to finish out the entire season. But they had a deep running back room, and just to help Freddie out there, they didn't get as many opportunities to run, but when they did look explosive, but maybe they'll thrive elsewhere one day.
Yeah, well, remember, Derrick Henry missed the one game against the Cowboys. They held him out. We kind of wanted to play, but they were like, look, we got to have you next week. And Haskins, maybe that was his best opportunity to jump in there, but he is kind of a mystery man.
Yeah.
And you wonder if they're going to back off of the workload of Henry. Does that lead to more opportunities for Haskins? How will they use Spears? And then what does that set the table for if they do move on from Derrick Henry after this coming year?
I have a question, and I don't know if I think they did end up texting it to the text line, but they then sent me the screenshot.
Ah, okay. Look,
Lennon,
they're asking you. This is about Ask D-Mace.
Yes.
You can however you need to get to D-Mace. You could call, you could text.
Exactly.
If you got the back door, you go in the front door, the side door. As long as you get the question to
as
D-Mace.
long as the question comes, that's all that matters.
You can come here, and you can knock on the window. You can put up a sign.
Send a pigeon.
Yeah.
Or send an owl if you're Harry Potter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
however you want to get your question in,
over
get
at
it
Hogwarts.
In. This question.
We got Ian from Hogwarts.
It's from Lennon, who I affectionately call Baby L.
Okay.
Now, this is her question. Mind you, she's 8. So. But she always picks with me.
Okay.
So she always messes with me. But I give it back to her.
Okay.
But here's her question. Baby L here, she wants to ask Uncle D what he recommends for people who have small ears how to hear better.
I have small ears too, and I think that's a question I have for myself.
All I say is, as the older you get, the bigger your ears get. So as the older I get, my ears will just morph into original size, while everyone else's ears will be large like disc. Mine will be average size. Just listen intently. That's all you got to do.
Think about all of the possibilities, though. If you have small ears, the opportunities you have to say, look, I got small ears. I didn't hear you.
No, I hear.
If somebody said, why didn't you do this? I didn't hear you. I got small ears.
I hear everything, though.
So
I just act like I don't hear some things.
You got an excuse.
My kids will tell you, I hear everything that's going on. But I act like I don't. I just let it go over my head.
All right, let's get a couple more in here. Linda from Clarksville. D-Mace, if the Titans give D-Hop the moon, what does that say about KD? They could pay D-Hop, but ask KD to take a pay cut? I guess she means KB.
Yeah, KB.
Kevin Byard. But we get the point here. But this is the yin and the yang of the salary cap. While you want the flexibility, you don't want to have to rob Peter to pay Paul, but there's some of that goes on. It's just like Tom Brady saying, I'll take a little less if we can have more room for this guy, this guy, this guy. Right? But that's sort of the principle, but I understand the question.
Yeah, it's essentially robbing Peter to pay Paul, then you got to rob Paul to pay Peter back. So, it's just one of those deals. And that is a good question. And this is where, those capologists, the genius, the guys and girls that sit in a room for hours and hours and try to break down a cap. I know you love that stuff, Willie. The analytics,
I don't love it,
numbers, but
it's
when
a
you're
big part
in
of it. Yeah,
it makes you look at it a little bit different because
reading Spot Rack racks my brain.
Break up the salary cap and why teams potentially can make the move or why they didn't make the move or so forth and so on, and it's true. So, but it's not they can do both. But it's how they do it. I don't think KB would take offense to them going out and getting Hop because it makes the team better. It makes his chances of winning a lot better. And they would structure the contract so they get as much relief in that first year because ultimately what it's going to end up being is a one-year deal anyway, if indeed he does sign with the Titans or, frankly, with anybody. I think it would be a one-year deal. I would be surprised if someone gives him like a guaranteed multi-year deal. So they can make it. I'm sure they can make it work within the parameters they want it to work in. They can't. They're not gonna. I can't see them giving him $15-16 million. But if we can slide 7-8 in there, maybe some incentives, maybe get it to 9.
That's really going to be the question when it gets down to the brass tacks. What is your best offer?
Exactly.
If you're the Titans, how high are you willing to go without damaging what you want to do over the next 3 or 4 years? All right, last one for you. Todd from Nashville. D-Mace, what is the most tenacious D you ever played against? Of course, the Tenacious D concert is the
Tenacious
He's
D.
trying to work it. Todd, I like how you're working here. I see how you're working in there. The most tenacious defense you ever played against.
And that's easy. That 2000, that 99-2000 Ravens defense.
Okay.
Because we end up going, it was the 98-99 season. We went to Super Bowl, but it was the 99-2000 season that, I believe it was 99-2000, that Baltimore went to the Super Bowl. And that defense, was, from a historic standpoint, one of the best defenses ever.
And, I think if you guys had won it, that defense you guys had.
And we had a hell of a defense
there.
too. Yes.
It was right there. There was not
I think
a whole lot.
I think we were 1-2 that year.
Yeah, absolutely 1-2. And in '99, of course, that was Javon Curse's rookie year, and that became the whole thing, right? And you guys went to the Super Bowl. Then the next year, I think you would agree, you guys had a better overall team.
We had a better overall
better
team.
offense, and then the defense even took another step forward. But that Ravens D, of course, that's still the most bitter loss that I think I can remember in this town since we became a major league sports market in Nashville. When they beat you guys with 5 first downs in the game, that's still the most frustrating loss I think I've ever seen.
If you look at the stat board, we just
it was
overwhelmingly just beat them down from a stat standpoint.
And that defense became legendary because they went on after that game and went on and won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If you guys win that game, it may have been your defense that became more legendary for shutting teams down and stuff. But that was a legit D. Don't get me wrong. They were legit. Very, very good. All right. Great stuff for Ask D-Mace here on this Dad Joke Friday. We'll get to more of them in the next hour. Also, when we start the next hour, the question is the evolution of the coaching profession. And what does Andrew Burnett bring to the table? He is a little bit more of the modern coach. We'll tell you more about that, and we'll ask D-Mace about the type of coaches he's played for and what does he see in the more modern-day coaches. Is this a good thing? Stay tuned. Final hour of the show coming up.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
High interest rates may be the norm everywhere else. But right now at Genesis Diamonds, we're always thinking about our customers, and we've decided to slash interest rates down to 0%. 0% for 5 years. That means you can get those diamond earrings, that designer engagement ring, or that luxury pre-owned Rolex and spread your payments over 5 whole years without paying a dime in interest. Birthdays, anniversaries, just because gifts starting as low as $35 a month. And that's with 0 down. Now through July 1st only. And only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Approved credit. See store for details.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You want to know how to get better rates, better coverage, and better service on your home and auto insurance? Work with Zander Insurance. I know it's a big promise, but this team delivers. They've been around for almost 100 years and have earned the privilege of representing dozens of insurance companies so they can shop, compare, and find you the best options available. More options mean more savings, and in many cases, better coverage. But it doesn't stop there. Each year, they review your coverage to make sure your rates stay competitive. Nobody else does that. And when it comes to service, just check out their ratings. Zander is one of the top agencies in the industry, and they earned that spot with their commitment to making sure their clients are taken care of like family. That's what sets them apart. Go to Zander.com for quick online quotes or call 800-356-1780 for that personal touch that you've been missing.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nate Keiser. The Florida Panthers hosted Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final last night, the first time since 1996 in South Beach, and it was an overtime thriller. With 2:13 to play in regulation, it was forward Matthew Tkachuk who tied the game at 2, and then Florida's overtime hero showed up. Here's the call on the Panthers Radio Network.
Bennett up the near side, looks across Verhage, high slide shot. He scores! Connor Verhage, the overtime winner here in Game 3. The Panthers take it 3-2 the final.
And the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat are back on the hardwood tonight for Game 4 of the NBA Finals after the Nuggets claimed Game 3. And the Nashville Sounds are back in action tonight at 5:50 p.m. against the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mace.
Stone and Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
1025 and 1063.
Cranks it, he scores. On both sides of the ball. One big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Final hour of the show here on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. We are live from the Game studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. You can call or text us, 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Now, we teased this before the end of the last hour. Coaching is evolving, especially at the professional level. And when I started to see this, Derek, was about, 15, 20 years ago, there started to become a shift when players started to not just make money, but huge money. And oftentimes, so much more than the coach. I think the NBA was maybe where I first started to see players use the leverage when they were making that much money. It's kind of like the players to realize, look, do I really need to listen to this guy if I don't like this guy? They'll get rid of him before they get rid of me. Mm-hmm. I'm not going anywhere. They're paying me X amount of dollars. He's not getting anything. So I think that is where, in my mind, and you tell me what you think, coaches realize, look, for me to make this work, and Phil Jackson, I think, was at the forefront of this, I would have to say, of saying, look, coaches come and go a lot. For me to stick and really get the respect of my players and for me to get the most out of them, I can't just be the disciplinarian coach that says, everybody be here at 8 o'clock for practice, and we're running sprints and no water. Like all these,
take salt pills.
Rule with fear, right? And I think at the pro level, that's where coaches had to start adapting because they could not do that anymore. You could still do it at the high school level and probably at the college level in a lot of places. Just stern disciplinarian, rule with a little bit of fear attached to it. But I think at the top level now, with the money that's being made, you have to have a little bit more of the velvet touch. You got to be somebody who builds relationships. Would you agree with that? I do think there's a lot of evolution. And the old school Bobby Knight, for lack of a better term, there's less and less of those guys. And I'll give you an example. Mike Babcock in hockey, they're bringing him back, and that is the number one question. When he's coming back into the league, he got fired. He was the highest paid coach in the NHL, but he got canned by the Maple Leafs. And part of the reason was they thought he was maybe a little too hardcore behind the scenes, old school tactics, and it just didn't fly. And so they went a different direction. So are you seeing this shift a little bit? And do you agree that maybe Phil Jackson was one of the first to sort of break through, and other coaches were like, I got to do this. I got to get on a level with my players where they like me as a person, I like them as a person, I get to know them, we have a relationship. It's not just coach-player.
Yeah, I think you saw, and maybe there were coaches doing it. I think about Chuck Daly and how he was able to get that Piston team, because beside Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas, Rob, I'm talking about Hall of Famers, Rodman, those three guys. They had a collection of guys that were good but not great, and he found a way to have all of those guys buy in. And then you look at what he did with the Olympic team, those egos and everything else. So we had to sort of massage those egos and get those guys to all play for one common goal, and that was the Olympic gold medal. Now, it probably was a little bit easier to do because it's like we're playing for the world. So we're playing for our country, meaning against the world.
There's some good documentaries on that team and how you try to get the most out of those guys.
Absolutely. So there is a possibility that, Chuck Daly was one of the first guys that we saw it from an outwardly perspective. Like, we can see some of the things he was doing to try to get his teams to play. But I think Phil Jackson sort of, to try to get the greatest player that has played the game, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and then Dennis Rodman, and you gotta facilitate and sort of manage all of these egos, especially Rodman. You gotta manage that ego that he has, because he's unpredictable. And we've seen that the whole what was the thing called that Michael Jordan that they did during the pandemic?
The Last Dance.
Yeah, The Last Dance. So we saw The Last Dance, and Rodman wanting to go to Vegas and Phil letting him go to Vegas, but that was Phil finding what made each guy tick, and he was great at doing it. They won 3 back-to-back. No other team has done it since they have. And then you see what he did with Shaq and Kobe and those guys. They won championships while he was there. So I think now, especially, even Fish, remembered, Jeff Fisher mentioned this when he was on, I think last year, about having to, it becomes more of a psychological game than anything else, because you have to resonate with these men. I don't care if they're 18-year-old young men or 28, 38-year-old older men. You got to find a way to connect with them mentally. You just can't tell them, go, run in the dirt, keep running, and try to tell you to stop. They're going to look at you like you crazy, like, dude, I ain't doing that.
Well,
I got a family. I gotta be ready and well for the game. I can't do that anymore.
You've set the table perfectly, because there was a really interesting interview with Andrew Burnett, who is the new Predators head coach, of course. He did a podcast with Mike Russo, who is an excellent hockey writer, and he's part of the hockey podcast for The Athletic. And he spent a lot of time with Andrew Burnett during his years in Minnesota. So Andrew Burnett, very comfortable with him, had a great conversation on their podcast. But this was his thought about how he's shaping his relationship with players, because he sees that evolution. In hockey, the old school coach, absolutely kind of like the football coach. A lot of fear, a lot of yelling, screaming, don't like how you're playing. We're not going over X's and O's. We're just going to skate. It's going to, don't even bring your sticks or pucks out there. We're just going. Remember the movie Miracle, right? Herb Brooks.
Punishment.
Again. Remember, he just has them,
keep
sprints.
on going.
That's how it used to be. You got to evolve from that. So here's Andrew Burnett's philosophy on how it's changed and how it is shaping his views as a coach.
The game of hockey is a huge connection for me, but within the connection, there's all kinds of little values that kind of go with it. And I think communication with today's players, it's not like the old days and not like when I grew up, where you never wanted to talk to the coach, and if you did talk to the coach, it was no good. Today's player is, they want to be valued. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. And, I think of Bruce Boudreau, when I was working with him in Minnesota, he might have been ahead of his time. On his board, he had all the things that were important. And one of them was make sure you talk to everyone, as coaching staff, make sure we hit every person today, every player today. And that's something I took for him. And I think that's so important, because it's a different world. And I kind of saw it from being upstairs and the combines and working with the young kids and how much they need. They want to know why, this generation. And we have to be able to be vulnerable enough to know that, we don't know why all the time, but we're going to work together. We're going to be a partnership here, and we're going to get better. And so I think that those are some of the things that I've kind of learned. Is it perfect? Is the old school way better? I think if you can blend both, I just think it's harder and harder in today's game twofold, that the players, it's a partnership now, with how the salary cap is, and you have these players for long-term deals. And if you're going to go and be the hard iron fist, you lose guys. And I think if you can create some kind of atmosphere, some kind of culture where it doesn't mean that it's not honest, it doesn't mean that it's not hard, it doesn't mean that there's going to be some tough conversations. But I think if you're able to listen, if you're able to be compassionate, I think you're going to grow with the player, and then you're going to build trust. And I think when you build trust, that's when you're really coaching.
Thoughts from Andrew Burnett. Really interesting answer there about how the coaching philosophy is evolved. And he talks about the word partnership with the players and not more of the tyrant and the fear. We'd love to hear some thoughts, perspective on this. If you're a coach today, maybe on the high school level, how you think if it's evolved, if you've been a player, what kind of coaches did you appreciate on the different levels? And, what's better? He said, I don't know which one is better, Andrew Burnett said. But he knows if a guy's under contract for 5 more years guaranteed and it's not going anywhere, you better figure out how to bond with that guy, because there is a certain amount of leverage players like that have. And if they check out, it makes your job pretty tough, and that's not always easy for a coach to deal with. We'll talk more about this when we come back. 615-737-1025. And you got thoughts how this relates to the Predators. Obviously, that is going to be a big, big challenge for Andrew Burnett as he comes in along those lines. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture, eat strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's almost time to crown an NBA champion, and FanDuel wants you to be a part of the excitement. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel has great promotions every day. It's a safe and secure app, and you get paid instantly. So there's no better place to bet all of the finals action than on America's #1 sportsbook. Let me tell you, I feel great about the Nuggets. I felt like it was going to go 5 the whole time. We'll see if that holds up, but I still would put a lot of my money if I was going to bet this on the Nuggets. Visit FanDuel.com/JGM and get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/JGM. FanDuel, an official partner of the NBA. 21 and older in President, Tennessee. First online real money wager. Only $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
This week's Nashville's best deal is from River Queen Voyages. It's a fun and unique way to cool off in Nashville this summer. Nashville's River Fun Authority gives you the best views of the city with skyline kayaking, river scavenger hunts, and a party pontoon with your own captain. Book your downtown river adventure at riverqueenvoyages.com. And while supplies last, get half off a $50 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals. That's thegamenashville.com/deals.
Men, at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, our urologists and providers have been helping guys with erectile dysfunction and other sexual health issues for years. And unlike some, at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we take a comprehensive approach to your sexual health. Our sole focus is to treat ED and related conditions. ED can be affected by a bunch of things, from hormones, prostate issues, medical conditions, and even simply aging. The fact is, most guys experience it at some point in life. If you're suffering with ED, it's extremely important to see a provider that understands how your medical conditions, hormone levels, and other factors can impact your ability to have sex. That's why you should come to the Tennessee Men's Clinic, where we have treatments that are effective in nearly 90% of cases. I can't tell you how many guys we've seen that thought their situation was hopeless, only to be wildly surprised. So give us a call today. We'll do some blood work with a T-check and a medical consult to give you the best shot at success. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We We have 2 offices, Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. This is Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm an offensive coach. I think my philosophy of how I see the game is I kind of want to dominate the puck. And I want to have it as much as I can have it, and I don't want to chase around too much. So it's not really offensive. It's just more when you have it, keep it, and when you don't have it, get it back as soon as possible. Where I don't want to defend, I want to check, and I want the puck back. So we have so many creative offensive players, and I think the game's going that way, that I want them to enjoy the game, to be a style of hockey that's enthusiastic, it's entertaining, and it's fun to play. And these guys are going to want to have fun. I want them to have fun coming to the rink every day, because I think if you enjoy the game, you'll play better. And as a player, I know when I didn't have fun, I stunk. So I think the more you can enjoy it, and let's not confuse joy with giggling and tee-heeing, and joy's the process of coming to work and getting better and improving and being together. So I think a little bit joy sometimes gets misunderstood, but that's kind of how I see it.
Andrew Burnett, some thoughts on his coaching philosophy. This week's Nashville's best deal is River Queen Voyages. River Queen Voyages is the most fun and unique way to see the downtown skyline from the water. Get half off a $50 gift card while they last at thegamenashville.com/deals. Coming up later in the show, we will take it to the bank with our friends from F&M Bank. That's going to have some fun. All right, so let's get back to this conversation about the evolution of coaching. All right, so D-Mace, you got Mike Vrabel on the Titan side. Now you have Andrew Burnett. So even if you're not a huge Predator fan, I think you can relate to this. When you have, and I'm talking to the listeners, not you, D-Mace. I'm looking at you. I'm just talking to everybody here. But, when you hear him talk, it absolutely makes you wonder, okay, can he tune in to a Philip Forsberg who is locked in for 8 years? Matt Duchene, locked in for 3 more years, we think. Ryan Johansson. Can you get guys like that who are going to be around regardless who the coach is, unless they, as those contracts age, it might get a little different in the coming years. But one pathway to overachieving with your new job would be get those veterans to buy in. You hear them talking about offense. Well, yeah, that would certainly have a Matt Duchene excited, right? But also that relationship part of it, that former player, that looks like his philosophy on how he's going to try to get the most out of those guys. Like you were talking about with Phil Jackson and how he tried to connect with his players. Partnership more so than coach to player. What do you think it's like in the NFL where it is a little bit, if you've got a problem, quote unquote, and a guy's not buying in, it's a little easier to cut those guys in the NFL because of the nature of the salary cap, right? Still, you have that hammer, I think, if you've got some clout as a coach. But I see Mike Vrabel also as a guy that really does want to build that relationship with his players. He's got some, I don't know if I would say fear to him, but he's got that strong, kind of intimidating ability. But I also think he wants to connect with that communication skill as well, right? Do you see that blend? That's kind of what it makes him a modern coach.
Yeah, I think those guys, more than anything, I think they respect Mike Vrabel. And that more than anything, you heard the quote, I don't want nobody to fear me. I want them to respect me. Fear causes you to try to circumvent me in different ways because you're scared. You're scared of my persona, or you're in fear of my physical traits. So I may try to do something else to sort of get around you or whatnot. But if I respect you, then I'm going to come to you, like an adult, and we're going to talk about, whatever problem may be going on. We're going to talk about it, and I can get the most out of you because you respect my job. You respect, how I'm trying to get the most out of you. You don't fear me as a coach. You respect me as a coach, which means you will run through a wall for me because it's like I trust him. I respect him as a head coach or her as a head coach. So I'm going to do everything possible to make sure that I'm doing the things that they ask me to do. When you fear a coach, it's never going to work. Never. And I think the coaches nowadays, even the coaches that coached when fear ruled, the Nick Sabans of the world, some of these other, when Mike Krzyzewski was coaching before he retired, or just name some of these older coaches.
And Mike Krzyzewski, he played for Bobby Knight, so
exactly.
he knew all about
the
fear,
that whole
and he
fear
had that.
Thing.
There's no question he has that. When you have that authoritative feel to you, I think that's still a tool. It's just when you want to use it, right? I still think it can be effective. Like Mike Vrabel, I think could strike fear into a young player if he wanted to. Right? It's not like, hey, I'm your buddy here.
But that fear only lasts.
I'm the coach.
That fear will only last for a little while. The respect's going to last a little bit longer. I'm only going to fear you. Like, I may fear you my rookie season, but the minute I start getting some skins on the wall, I start doing some things out there on the field or the ice, I don't fear you anymore.
Yeah, there better be another level to your
There
relationship.
better be a level of respect there because that fear is going to run out, And I think these coaches are realizing that now. Now, even the ones, like I said, even the one that coached 30 years ago, they realize that now it comes from a place of respect. I have to earn the respect of these players in order to get them to do what I need them to do. And they got to trust that what I'm telling them is for the betterment of the team. And I'm sure that's what, Coach Burnett is saying. And that's how he's going to hopefully get the most out of a Johansson or a Duchesne.
Yeah.
Not the fear, but the respect that I'm asking you to do these things for the betterment of you, but more importantly, the betterment of the team.
He talked about it as a former player. This is a really interesting thing because I thought about this in my playing career. He said back in the day, if the coach says, if the coach says, I need to talk to you, your immediate thought was, oh, this isn't good. Like you didn't want to talk to the coach who was in that authoritative, on the throne kind of, oh, man, I don't want to talk to him. I'm kind of scared. He's not really approachable.
Every time you walk by him, it's like,
ooh, is he? Was it? I remember kind of having that feeling, and my coach, I have a great relationship with my coach now, Eddie Folk for Vanderbilt basketball, but he did have a little bit of edge to him, and I think he kind of liked to have that, I'm going to make sure that this discipline, this attention to detail gets into because you don't want to know what's going to happen if you get outside of that. But
I think that's
I do think it's evolved from that. That's what Andrew Burnett is. He wants you to be able to have a conversation back and forth.
And I think
it's probably different at the pro level than the college.
Yeah, but I think ultimately, Coach Brunette, his thing is in any coaching level. I think it works at every coaching level. Now, obviously, when you're dealing with little league kids, you approach it, I think, from the standpoint of love. It's like love on the kids, get them to learn the game, get them to enjoy and love the game, and then we can ask them to do more. But I think now, Coach Bruno or Brunette.
He always says, "Call me Bruno."
Yeah, I'm gonna call him Coach Bruno.
Yeah.
Coach Bruno.
Yeah.
His thing now is, yes, I there will be times where I need to be hard. A lot of times it's usually for the younger guys, but I got to learn how to. When I'm hard, I got to learn. I got to still have that ability to talk to these guys after I'm hard with them. Pull them aside and say, hey, listen, this is why I'm asking you to do this. This is why I'm hard on you, because I believe, I can get the best out of it. I believe you can be this type of player.
He sees something in his players that they don't.
Exactly. So you do still have to be, there has to be a bit of that old school coach in you, but because back then it was just, I'm telling you what to do, and you never pull a player to the side and was like, hey, this is why I want you to do it. It was always rule with iron fist. Now you can't be that way. You got to actually explain to these guys why you're asking them to do what they need to do.
Now, I think another thing, too, and this is something from me when I was playing high school hockey, and it's no consolation to what you guys have done either, but I think it's somewhat something to think about is my positional coach would always go through examples with me. He would always walk through a drill with me if I didn't completely understand it. He would give me a different way of explaining it than maybe he told the other players to. And I feel like sometimes those relationships are more common nowadays because even talking to even Nathan Gerby, who is the Predators' forward development coach, he's been telling me, he's like, I just try to be personal with these guys. I try to get to know their families. I try to get to know them. That's the number one priority for me, is to get to know these guys. And I think knowing that they're starting to do that more so in this organization, it gives the fans a confidence, but more importantly, it gives the players a confidence level that they may not have experienced yet.
Yeah, you just got to know how to deal with the people that you are in charge of, or the people that look at you a certain way. You can't just walk by them anymore in the locker room or in the hallways. You got to be able to
That's
talk
one thing
to
you heard
them.
Andrew Burnett
Exactly.
says, I want to connect with every player every day. That's what one of the things he got from one of his former coaches, Bruce Boudreau. So we'll see how he goes about it as he gets started here. When we come back, we'll go to the text line. Might have a couple more dad jokes.
Oh, okay.
D-Mace can go, and then we'll take it to the bank with F&M Bank at 1:45. Stay tuned. We've got more coming here on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace here on 102.5 The Game.
The NHL Awards and NHL Draft are coming soon to the Music City. Join us live June 26th through 29th at Bridgestone Arena as we'll have you covered from the red carpet and the draft floor as the stars of tomorrow join the quest for Lord Stanley's Cup. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Family Leisure is having a come out and play sale. Hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. DIY pools start at only $16.99. 24-foot pools are only $29.99 installed in 7 to 10 days.
More than 100 spas in stock and ready for immediate delivery starting at only $29.99.
And Family Leisure has the Diamond Point Play Gym at only $24.99 installed, ready for immediate delivery.
Family Leisure is calling you to come out and play at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Interest rates may be high everywhere else, but now at Genesis Diamonds, you can get 0 interest on any purchase. 5 years, 0 interest financing with nothing down. Beautiful eternity bands, 1-carat diamond stud earrings, and more. Starting at only $50 a month. At Genesis, we are always looking for ways to do more for our amazing customers. So don't miss this. 5 years, 0 interest financing. Imagine that $6,000 designer ring is just $100 a month. We'll even finance the sales tax. Now through July 1st only. And only at Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Road 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text The Game at 615-737-1025.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
A little Duran Duran. They are coming to Nashville. Come to Bridgestone pretty soon. That's got my attention. I'm not sure I'm in town, though. All right. We're coming down the home stretch of another week of shows here. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace in the Game studio, sponsored by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electric. It is Dad Joke Friday.
Yeah, but before that, you got some more to say? I'm sorry, Willie.
Oh, I was just going to see if you had another
no.
dad joke.
I was, y'all know I like documentaries. I love them. And I'm a conspiracy theorist as well,
Yeah.
to a certain extent. But I love documentaries. And I saw this documentary last night on beavers. And you know what?
On beavers?
On beavers, yeah. It was really good. It was the best damn documentary I've ever seen.
You're dead, Willie. I was like, oh, beavers. They built that one. This is good. I can see this. It's on the Discovery Channel, or is that like a...
Oh, yeah.
Document
oh,
on beavers.
yeah.
What a woodchuck, Darren.
Oh, man. Yes. You got to give it to me. Zany's 2027.
All right. I have a question for you guys.
Go ahead.
Oh, boy.
Now, growing up, because you guys are a little older than me, and you have gone through some different styles and whatnot, and I know one thing that I never experienced was having a waterbed. Did you guys ever have one growing up?
I had one in college.
My parents did have the waterbed back in the day. We did have a waterbed in the house.
Just stop, Willie.
Okay.
We're not going to take it any further.
Now, with that, do you guys want to know how you get some more bounce in your waterbed?
How you get more bounce in your waterbed? More bounce.
How do you get more bounce in the waterbed?
You got to add some spring water.
Man.
Oh, man.
Dad Joke Friday. How about this from our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com? JD, hey, do you hear about the guy who drank invisible ink? He's at the hospital waiting to be seen.
I read that one earlier. That was a good one.
I like that.
Coming up on your next Law and Order.
Oh, man. Where's the guy that
Excuse me,
that consumed invisible ink? Where is he?
We've had some good ones today. All right, we're going to take it to the bank in our next segment, but let's break down just where the two big series are right now with the Stanley Cup Final and the NBA Final. I'll tell you this, Derek. I think they've got to, as much as the players probably benefit from the rest between games right now, I think you kind of lose momentum, especially in a series like this where you have it's the Heat and the Nuggets, not massive media markets, but should they have? How about a little better rhythm to the series? I feel like, hey, when's Game 3? Like it's been 5 days.
Game 4 is what, tomorrow night
it's
or
like
tonight?
Once a week or something. Game 4. See, that's the thing. It's like you should know this. But the next game is it's
I think it's tonight.
It's tonight. Okay, 7:30.
Yeah, so it's tonight. I think they're trying to spread them out 2 days. Give them 2 day rest.
Yeah, but they didn't. That's the thing. Not this one, because they just played the other day.
Yeah, this is an actual 1 day off. This is what it should be. But give me your thoughts on the Heat tonight. Like it just seems like there's a level that the Nuggets can hit that the Heat cannot hit. It's like up to the Nuggets to just make sure they play their game, and they should be all right. That's kind of what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Here's the thing. At least what I see. Denver, if you're just looking at both the teams, Denver is the better team. Denver, they have more scores. They have more guys that better shooters from the outside. They are more of a complete team. They play really good defense at times. They can be laxed at times as well. And, Malone said that after the second game, like, we just didn't. We're out there. We didn't get no effort whatsoever. And I think sometimes that happens to teams that are, from a personnel standpoint, just better than the other team. You get into a flow, and then you kind of take your foot off the pedal a little bit and then allow that team to come back. And you hope, because of the depth of your team and the scoring power that you have, you're able to win it, win that game. But they were not able to win Game 2. They pulled out Game 3, blew them out, even though Miami did make it run late in the fourth quarter. They got it down to, I think they ended up getting it down to 9 points, had an opportunity with a Bam, 13-footer, could have cut it to 6, I believe, or 7. He ended up missing, and then they just end up running the score up after that and making it a double-digit win. But Denver just has the ability to go on these spurts at any time. They're sort of like the Warriors were and still are to a certain extent. Like, no lead is safe with the Warriors back in because they can cut a 15-point deficit like that.
You're right.
Snap of a finger. Denver is that way too with Nikola Jokic and Murray. Those two guys can cut a deficit in a matter of seconds. So this team has so much firepower that you better be playing your A game. Like, you have to be playing. Look at the games that Miami has won. The one game Miami has won. Everyone, I believe, basically was in the plus. Everyone, they were doing the things necessary. They were playing with high energy. Guys were making baskets. They have to do that in order to beat Denver. They can't have an off night and say, well, you know, we eventually figure it out during the game and we'll win. No. If you have a Nikola Jokic type player, you can do that. They don't. Even as good as Jimmy Butler is, he can't string points like Nikola Jokic can. He can't do the things that the Joker can do that can bring you back in games. This team just has too much for Miami, but Miami plays with such tenacity on the defensive end that gives them an opportunity every time. They don't have lights-out shooter. One reason is because they don't have Tyler Hero out there. Now, the other guys, Martin and those guys, they can get on the roll, but you're talking Tyler Hero is their knockdown shooter. And Jimmy Butler doesn't shoot many three-pointers. He's more of a mid-range guy, back you down, hit a little small jumper. He'll hit a three-pointer every one, but that's not his game. So they don't have these proven outside shooters from the three-point range. Denver does. And when they get it to rolling, it is hard to stop them. So I guess I'll wait for my ticket to the bank to tell you what I'm thinking. But it's going to be hard. Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat this Denver team.
Well, and this is why I think about it too. And my ticket to the bank will be about the Stanley Cup final. And I see some similarities, of course, not just because the teams are both from South Florida, but you just feel like that the Vegas can hit a higher level than the Panthers are able to, are capable of playing. So if they play that well, it's hard to match. But crazy things happen. It is interesting. But I want to make one more point about Jokic, though. I still think we take for granted just what we're seeing. Because
he's not flashy.
He's not flashy, but he's so unique. And when you start hearing these comparisons, it's like it's been a long time. Oscar Robertson, Wilt Chamberlain, like when the game was different. Like he's doing things that nobody has done in the modern era, and you got to go back to those days since somebody did that. And he's done even more. Like there's been a lot of great players that we've watched, but his stats with the triple doubles, the combination of 20 rebound games or 40 and 20 or they're coming up with all these different ways of slicing it. He's rising at a rate up the charts historically that's pretty fast now. I'm wondering how long he can do this.
See, and that is the part that I think some people, because there are some that are saying, oh, Nikola Jokic is the best player in basketball right now. I think he's one of the best players. I don't think he is the best player. Here's the problem with Nikola Jokic moving forward. Can his style of play sustain? Because he's not the biggest. Well, he may be like one of the tallest, but
he's big.
Yeah, he's big, but he's not the swiftest of feet. He doesn't move particularly fast. He's not jumping high. He's not doing some of these things, that quickness that helps sustain that greatness for a long period of time. Larry Bird was so great because he encompassed all of that, the quickness, the ability to jump, the ability to pass, score, dribble the ball, set up the offense, play really good defense. Bird was a different type of player, and his sort of play would extend a long period of time. You look at players like Tim Duncan. His level of play, his style of play kept him at a level for a longer period of time, even though he was a big guy. He was swift with his feet. He can do other things on the basketball court. Right now, Nikola Jokic can do everything. But how long does that last with a guy his size? That's what we're asking ourselves now. Can he extend this 3 to 4 more years like LeBron? If he extends what he's doing another 3, 4, 5 years, then there is an argument that Nikola Jokic is one of the greatest, like, top 10,
could
15
get into that
players.
conversation.
Exactly, yes.
I'm looking at his page on Basketball Reference. Nikola Jokic, nicknames. Joker, knew that one.
Yeah.
Big Honey.
Big Honey.
Cookie Monster.
I like Cookie Monster.
Yoke. The Big Tipper. I didn't know he had like 5 nicknames too. I mean, that's got to add to the legend right
but
there.
But there are cool names though. The Big Tipper. I like that.
The Big Tipper. The Big Honey.
But he's doing things that
he averaged a triple-double in the regular season, and he is getting a triple-double almost every game. It seems like it's not a big thing when he gets a triple-double in these playoff games.
It's not. For him, I'm going to say this. For him, it's easy from this standpoint.
If it's so easy, but nobody else does it.
But there's only been few guys to do it. We look at a few years ago, Russell Westbrook was able to do it 2 seasons. Now, mind you, he did it 2 seasons in a row where he averaged a triple-double. Now, the problem was his teams were not good. So it kind of overshadowed what he did as a player.
That's an interesting point.
But he was able to do it for 2 years straight. Nikola Jokic, he's able to do it. It's so easy for him. The reason is, one, he's 7 foot, but then he shoots like a guard. That's what makes it so easy but so difficult to guard him, because his prowess as far as him shooting the basketball. So you're not going to back up and let him shoot, because if you do, he's going to nail him all day. Well, you come up, now I got the ability, because I'm 7 foot, to look over everybody and to pass the basketball. And, i.e., I can get the rebound too. So it's a little bit easier for him to do. It may seem hard for everybody else, but because his ability and his height and his width, as far as him being a big guy, it's a little bit easier for him to do than other players. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. It's a little bit easier for him to do.
Jokic, it's a texter text. Jokic is fast for a big guy that looks exhausted all the time.
Yeah, it does.
It looks like he's just struggling to get up on the thread, and all of a sudden he makes these
But
great
he's
plays.
moving.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I am a huge, huge fan. I am fascinated by the Joker or the Cookie Monster.
Or the Big Tipper.
Or Yoke.
Or what is that?
The Big Honey.
The Big Honey, yeah.
He's got 5 nicknames. Who knew? All right, when we come back, it'll be time to take it to the bank. We're going to end the show with a bang. We might have a final dad joke for the week. Jump on in there. It's brought to you by F&M Bank. We'll go over what happened last week, and we will make our picks for the weekend. Stay tuned.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game has an all-star lineup Monday through Friday. Batting first at 6 a.m., it's Robbie and Rexroad.
Yeah, you take that. You take that. Take 80% of that.
Followed by Chase and Michelle at 9.
Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
I need my caffeine so much.
Then it's Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace at 11.
Yep, green light, let's go.
You've got a lot of options.
He say, she say.
And bringing it home at 2, Jared Stillman for Stillman and Company.
That guy will be a good coach.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Does this sound familiar? Did your agent provide excellent entertainment with their TikTok videos and constant social media posts about themselves while completely ignoring that you hired them to sell your home? Did they tell you how wonderful they were? How many followers they had? They probably never sold your home, but hey, they did get 15 likes on their selfies. Hashtag my clients love me. Don't let that happen to you. Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why the only likes we care about are our clients loving our service. Ask us about our prepay with TJ option and how it can save you thousands. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Office number 615-432-2919.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
The spring menu is here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel, featuring their signature cast iron pie with herb roasted chicken, English peas, carrots, potato, simple greens, and a toasted biscuit crumble topping. Or garden succotash with snap peas, black-eyed peas, roasted peppers, sweet corn, tomato, and caramelized onion. Or try the steak fritas with pan-seared ribeye. Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel, open daily till 2 with brunch Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 7 till 2.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-587-5063. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-587-5063 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-587-5063 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-587-5063.
Sometimes it's good to be loud.
This is the NFL.
Especially when you're Jared Stillman.
That's where we are.
He's not afraid to say what's on his mind each and every day.
That was embarrassing. I don't care if you're a rookie. That was embarrassing.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Final segment, Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace. Caroline has got the afternoon shift. Does she want to come in and take it to the bank? Does she have one?
Take it to the bank.
She's thinking, oh, yeah, wait a minute. I might have to represent.
Will she call for another 40-piece?
Look at this. She's in. She's ready. Coming in from the bullpen.
Exactly.
She's getting ready to take over for the afternoon shift.
Call another 40-piece out.
Yep.
I don't mind. Hey.
And I am riding high. But first of all, this segment is really coming on. It's called Take It to the Bank, brought to us by our new sponsor, F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. Visit one of their 20 locations throughout Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky or online at fmbank.com. So less worry, more living, F&M Bank. Now, I'm excited because I actually hit one of these last week. It was the first round of the regionals for the NCAA baseball tournament, and I said at least 3 number 4 seeds would beat 1 seeds in game 1. And exactly 3 hit. Mm-hmm. Exactly 3. Thank goodness. I was sweating it out for a while, but it was Penn, Ryder, and I forget the third one, but the 3 of them won. And I texted immediately to you guys once the third team won. I was watching Penn beat Auburn in extra innings. Like, that's 3. That's 3. I finally got one. But I think 1 for 3 since we did this. Caroline had her first Take It to the Bank last week. Caroline, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome to your own
back.
show. Yeah.
Happy to be back. I feel like a visitor in my own home.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go on your refrigerator. You can go on it.
Does anyone mind if I use the restroom? Really
yeah,
quick?
you use your restroom.
You know, this is you pay rent here. You live here. But thank you. Happy to be back.
Nick, is this a new feature? You get a cha-ching if you get your Take It to the Bank? That's good. Okay.
I just decided to do something different with it.
Okay.
So.
I like that.
That's a keeper. Yeah. How did you do on yours last week?
I honestly forgot what I even said.
Well, he didn't get it
wait
right.
a minute. Now, we cannot have this, Nick.
Wait. Yes, okay. I do. I
Only
think,
Derek and I are allowed to forget stuff because we're getting old. You're too young to forget stuff.
I think what I had said was that last weekend the Admirals were going to force the last game and that someone was going to score. I think it was Joachim Kimmel or something like that. But it obviously did not happen.
Say it like you mean it.
Yeah.
You're taking it to the bank, Nick.
Oh, well, Nick, come on, man. No, you
don't get that.
You don't get a cha-ching.
You get the opposite.
You do not get a cha-ching.
You get a rejection.
Take that back.
You know how much rejection I face every day?
I failed miserably in my
Yeah.
take it to the bank. I thought Denver was going to take it in 5. I'm already wrong. And I thought that Jimmy Butler was going to drop 40, and I was wrong. But I did think that Miami was going to take game 2. So I guess I'm kind of right, but
Yeah.
Get a partial.
more wrong than I was right.
And mine's with a 30-piece triple-double and the win. Well, I didn't get the triple-double, but I got the win. The Heat
Okay,
did
so
win.
partial.
So partial.
So you can put both of you guys together and you get like
got one.
half.
Jokic
you get
had
one
40
cha-ching.
and a triple-double.
Yeah.
So
But it doesn't
can,
count.
can we say that we were like kind of right because it did happen, just not with the team?
We did
that
call out a
we
triple-double.
did call out a
Yes,
triple-double and a
yes.
40-piece. Just the wrong players. Because I didn't think there was any way that a player could have a triple-double and 40 points and still lose. But, I mean.
It happened.
It happened.
Well, there we go. So what is it this week? Who want to go
Now,
first?
let's find out. Well, we should add too that Jared, in his enthusiasm,
Oh, yes, that's
was
right.
sort of waiting in the bullpen for his show. He got excited. He wanted to participate.
Mm-hmm.
He was over at the regional. Now he was on the right track. He was rooting for Xavier. He had a college buddy who was a coach on the Xavier staff, and he called for Xavier to pull the upset and win
And
the
come out,
Nashville
yes.
regional. Now, if he'd have just said Vanderbilt will not win their regional, he would have been right. He could have gotten a cha-ching. But he and Xavier did eliminate Vanderbilt, so they had a big moment there. They won a couple of games, but it was Oregon, obviously, that moved on. So he does not get.
So he doesn't get a partial?
I don't think he gets a partial
Nope.
for that.
Okay.
We're not.
nothing.
We can't give him a
wrong.
partial. Yeah.
No, he's got to do better. And he's not here today, so he cannot participate. So let's quickly get ours for this week. Who wants to start? Anyone ready?
I'll start. Again,
Go for it,
I'm
James.
going to basketball.
Okay.
And the Heat and the Nuggets play tonight, 7:30. And I predict, it's in Miami, I predict Miami wins this game. And the Heat starting 5 outscore the Denver Nuggets starting 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
taking that to the bank.
Write this down, Nick. We got to. This is
take it to the bank.
There's math involved in this.
Yes.
We got to make
Yes.
sure we keep track of this.
Need
Add
a
it up.
calculator. My ticket to the bank for this week, I'm going to go to baseball.
Oh.
College baseball, super regional action this weekend. The LSU Tigers will advance to Omaha and take down Kentucky in 2 games.
2 games.
Oh.
There will not be a third.
There will not be a third game. We will not have action at Alec Buck Stadium on Monday, Saturday, and Sunday. LSU will beat Kentucky.
Take it to the bank.
Okay.
Take it
That's
to
a little bold.
the bank.
So, if they win in 3 games, do you get a partial? These are the things we
No
got to figure out.
partials around here.
Okay.
No partial.
No,
So they must win in
Not in
2.
this bank. Not in this bank.
Okay, not in this. So they have to win in 2.
They
for
have
you
to
be
win in
right.
2.
You're not going to complain too much, though, as long as they get to Omaha. You'll be
As
okay
long as
with
they
that.
get to Omaha, I will be okay.
Okay. I'm going to go short and sweet with mine. I'm not going to go look too far ahead, but think about what it's like in South Florida right now. You have the Heat in the finals, so they play tonight. Tomorrow night, right down the road, the Panthers play, trying to tie it up in Game 4. You've also got the Miami Marlins, who all of a sudden are getting pretty good. It's like, and they say in Major League, Bob Uecker, Harry Doyle, he says, and judging by the attendance, you haven't. Like, in case you hadn't noticed, and judging by the attendance, you haven't. They're not really filling the seats, but they're actually getting pretty good. The Marlins are good. Derek Jeter hopped off the ride a little bit too early. So exciting stuff going on. Yeah, exciting times in Miami. I'm going to call for the Panthers to even up the series. They will win Game 4. I'm not looking beyond that, but they are going to win Game 4.
Tie up the series.
Tie up the series against Vegas.
Are you willing to throw out a score?
Oh, no. I'm not willing to. I'm trying to get the
This is a
cha-ching.
bold bank, really.
All right, I will say this.
Okay.
Carter Verhaeghe, who scored the game winner last night in overtime, he will score a goal.
Okay.
That's bold. You
is
can
that
take it to the bank.
So is that like a take it to the bank and sort of a parlay?
It's just like what you've done, Derek. You called for points and assists and triple doubles and all that stuff.
Yeah. We're getting into layers of this.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
This is a big old onion. That's just been a sad
All right.
story for me, just not remembering anything. But my take it to the bank this week is going to be that the Tennessee Volunteers, they go 3 games against Southern Miss.
Ooh.
Do they win? Do they win?
They win in 3 games?
Yes, I say that Tennessee goes 3 but wins over them.
So
yes.
Southern Miss will take them to the limit, but Tennessee will win. Okay.
So are we saying 4 SEC teams in Omaha?
Yep.
Ooh.
That's
the max.
Yes.
Minimum 2, maximum 4.
Maximum 4. That is wild.
I don't know if Bama can do it. Bama would have to beat the number 1 team in the country,
That's
Wake Forest, to do it.
Wake Forest is such a good team.
Yeah, I like Tennessee's chances, and we know 2 more will go. That could have been a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody have a great weekend. Caroline will lead the charge coming up here, so stick around for that. We'll be back together on Monday here on 102.5 The Game.
Be love and love of somebody. Have a great weekend and peace.
Have a great day, guys.